Hey, y'all. Sorry I'm early, but I've got it all laid out and I'm ready to go. So I figured we would just start now. I'm going to try to get 2 live streams in today. I have, um, I probably have about 50 tabs open of timestamps for 2 separate streams that I've been working on in tandem. And they're both like, I've got them both where I want them or what I need pulled for both of them. So this one's, I'm going to try to keep this one a little short and concise. And then in a little bit, probably a couple hours, I will come back on and we'll do the second one. You guys will kind of understand the theme of where I'm headed, what I'm doing, but bear with me. Some of you might be like, what are we up to now? Well, you'll find out. Let's get going. Hey, everybody. Okay. Hey, Pika. Hey, Whispers. Hey, Up. Hey, Chicos. Chico's coming in hot. Hey, Steph. Hey, Ava. Robin. Emily. Marcy. Lisa. Teresa. Chatty. Penny for your thoughts. Socks 2. Bo. Cat's Eye. Twin Thing. Did I miss somebody? If I missed you, I'm sorry. Jennifer, Trish, we're gonna roll right into this. Beddy, MCW, Rondi. This isn't gonna be too out of sorts. We're not gonna review a full Beddy stream, so everybody can sit tight. Like it's not gonna be that. I'm not gonna torture you guys that far today. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful Tuesday. I will not probably be live tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a concert. I might take the members on a little behind the scenes Megan Trainor concert event, but that is tomorrow. So I probably won't be live tomorrow, but I will be trying to push in 2 live streams today because there's just so much I want to talk about and so many questions I have. You guys know me, my brain just kind of goes into overdrive, but we've been like, there's a few of us that have been like bouncing some things back and forth and we just keep coming to the same questions. So I want to show you guys where I'm at and where my questions are coming from. So this is a question to Beddy and Tony, and I'm going to show you why I'm asking this question and what I'm asking right now. So we're going to go back to Court TV, the Court TV interview that they did the other night. We're going to start at the 27-minute mark. This is all under fair use. This is based on my opinion only. As you guys know, this is to ask questions and push back a little bit because I would like to know where the proof, where they're sourcing this. I need some answers, and I'm assuming because they continue to say it, they can point me right in the direction. Y'all know me. I'm a little anal about timestamps and sourcing things. So I have looked high and low alongside with some of my best sleuthing buddies, and we can't find this, but let me show you.
She lost. She lost today. There's more that's going to happen. But I want to bring in our special guest joining us tonight. Sebastian Rogers' father, Seth Rogers, is with us, and the Rogers family spokesperson, Tony Mathis, as well. Thank you both for coming here.
Is it like tapioca pudding? Maybe that's why I can't find it, because I can't stand tapioca pudding. That could be, though, Nicole. You might be onto something. If it's in the tapioca pudding, I'm staying away. That's got too much texture for me.
What's your reaction, Seth, and Tony, to what happened today or yesterday in court with Bullhorn Beddy, and what are your thoughts about Bullhorn Beddy and what she's been doing?
Okay, notice how the question was, what are your thoughts on Bullhorn Beddy and what she's been doing? Now, I want you to watch how this is shifted right here.
Well, Vinny, first off, thank you for having us tonight. Let me be crystal clear about something. That entire family life.
Check that face out. Is it because my neighbor's out here goofing off? Don't mind me. I'm enjoying the last few. You guys, we're going to get down into the 70s this week. I'm like a little kid over here. I might get to wear leggings and a sweatshirt finally. I mean, I did in Washington, but here at home, that's like a big thing.
Under oath to get those protective orders. This family has spent more time trying to silence people than they've spent looking for Sebastian.
Which is factually incorrect. So if we're going to compare apples to apples, let's just call it for what it is. Seth was the first one to hire an attorney and send 6 cease and desist out in the beginning of this case. We all know that happened. Chris and Katie have filed for 1 restraining order against Bullhorn Beddy. They weren't the cause of the violations. They filed for 1 restraining order for 4 people, 4 different individuals, filled out their paperwork for a restraining order against Beddy. 1 person, they didn't even, I don't even think, had an attorney retained when they initially filed them. However, it escalated and then they did have attorneys later on. But as far as money spent, Beddy is now responsible for their court fees and attorney's fees as is. But Seth also paid for 6 cease and desist to attempt to silence people. We all know that happened. He spoke on it. Here we are. So that's just factually incorrect too.
We know for a fact that there's no proof that Sebastian walked out of that home.
We know for a fact that there's no proof that Sebastian walked out of that home. That is my question, Tony Mathis. Where do you know and how do you know for a fact that Sebastian did not walk out of that home? Where is the proof of this? Let's carry on.
And it makes you wonder what else they're lying about, Vinny. It also makes you wonder what would happen if Sebastian would have been able to file a protective order against his stepfather.
Seth,
we don't even know if there would have been grounds for such a thing. I want to remind everybody, because the CPS stuff is being dangled out there. I think they're trying to find a legal way to maneuver to leak some stuff out of these CPS records. We know that that's not supposed to happen. Minors' privacy is protected for a reason. I think they're trying to maneuver and dangle carrots out there to amp people up. No matter what you think about that situation, Chris was still allowed visitation in another court that highly looked over all of the stuff that was going on in Tennessee from what we are aware of. We've seen people leak intentional documents out of that, so on. But he was granted visitation. If there were all these allegations and founded allegations of abuse, there would have been charges of abuse, neglect, things of that nature, which we have no proof of whatsoever. There's no charges on any of these adults, none of them, for abusing Sebastian. So the basis of a restraining order is up in the air as is.
Your reaction to what happened and what is happening in all of this?
My professional opinion, I would say something along the lines of Chris and Katie did something to my son. They're using Sumner County to cover it up and to hide themselves from the actual law.
And let me ask you, Seth, and we have no independent information. We know that police are saying there's no suspect. No one's been named as a suspect in any of this. But this seems to be, at least.
I want to once again point out that Vinny confirms that there is nobody that has been named as a suspect. Last time Seth was on court TV, he was telling Vinny that he is a suspect and he needed to be cleared. Beddy is once again pushing that Seth needs to be cleared. However, even Vinny is stating that nobody's been named a suspect. Therefore, clearing him is not even on the table right now. There's no persons of interest, no suspects. Nobody knows what happened to Sebastian, and that's where it stands. So this whole false inflation of needing to clear Seth, he's a suspect. Vinny just confirms that they don't have any verification of any of that. Nobody's been named a suspect.
From my perspective, Seth, is it a change in the way you are seeing what has transpired through all this? Are you seeing things differently than you did before?
Think about what just was said out of Tony's mouth, that they have proof that Sebastian never left the house. Now listen to what Seth is going to say. I'm going to take you on a whole journey here and you guys will understand where my brain is going.
It's the evidence. I still believe my son is alive. I still believe he's somewhere. But the fact is that he was.
So he contradicts himself right there, because in the beginning he says that he thinks that Chris and Katie have done something to Sebastian, which he didn't say that, you know, ultimately murdered him, I guess we could say. He didn't say that, but he thinks that they did something to him. Now he is saying that he thinks he's alive. He's gone back and forth, up and down throughout the last few months, which I will say I think is pretty normal. If you do not know, your brain's probably all over. The emotions are probably all over. It's probably like a yo-yo. One day you feel this way, one day you feel that way. So I think that's pretty baseline normal. However, these accusations are pretty hefty.
Was at their house last. There is no evidence that he ever left the house.
There is no evidence that he ever left the home. So not once, but twice that is stated in this interview. Okay.
And they, as Tony has stated, they have spent more money and time trying to get people to not speak about Sebastian.
That's factually incorrect. If we're comparing lawyers' fees, Beddy is responsible for their attorney's fees because she was found by the court of law to be stalking and harassing them and has been restrained from doing so. And the court awarded them their attorney's fees, so they didn't spend any money. It also doesn't cost anything to file for a restraining order. The cost would have started incurring with their attorney, which Beddy is responsible for. But again, we know that Seth paid an attorney out of Nashville to pay for these 6 C&Ds that he sent out. He's tried silencing 6 people. They tried to restrain the stalking and harassment from 1 person. These are just not comparisons that land. But let's move on, because I got a lot of clips I want to show you, and I want to get to this point. Tony Mathis and Blowhorn Beddy, these are my questions for you. And I would really like, respectfully, an answer. I would really love for one of your team members to come out and point me in the direction of this, because you continue to say this, so I'm assuming you know exactly where to point me.
That they know where
This is from the lab the other night. We're going to start at the 18-minute mark.
he was at. I think they know where he was at when it happened. I think when an investigation starts, you've heard people talk about this circle, and this circle that they have includes all of the people that were closest to the victim person. And their goal is to slowly push people out of the circle. Well, you can push Seth out of the circle, whether they want to say it publicly or not, when you verify where he was at through video, through time cards, and then take his cell phones and make sure he wasn't communicating with anybody while he was at work. So whether you want to publicly push him out of the circle or not, I think that Chris and Katie know that he's been pushed out of that circle. Now, I think their mission has been to let
Lauren, that is exactly where we're going. That's the clip I'm playing right now, but I've got a few clips to include with you, but that's exactly where I'm going.
let everybody else know that they feel like they've also been pushed out of that circle. But the truth is, Josh, that there are no rock hard alibis for Chris or Katie. You know, I was at home
Okay. There were no rock hard alibis for Chris and Katie.
when it happened, and I don't know what happened is not really a rock hard alibi.
All right. Quick detour, right quick. We'll go back to that in a second. But I just want to take you back to Web Sleuths when Chloe, the PI, was working on behalf of Seth Rogers. She was working underneath Seth as his private investigator at this moment in time. We're going to start at the 2:59-minute mark on this one.
activities.
Right.
Yeah. So the last place he went before he went home was Texas Roadhouse.
Okay. And so that's the last confirmed sighting that we have where it was people, you know, the people that weren't related
Right.
to Sebastian.
Right.
Okay. And again, everybody, he has just vanished. I'm just stunned because there, again, that he's on camera apparently taking some garbage out, and there's cameras all over that neighborhood,
Yes.
but
And they are referencing Sebastian at this time. This is in reference to Sebastian. It'll get to the part where I want it to in just a moment.
Nobody has seen him leave.
No.
Now, if you have been following this case, you have seen Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot. Katie is Sebastian's mom,
Mhm.
and Seth is Sebastian's father. Chris Proudfoot is his stepfather.
Right.
What can you tell us about his, I guess, alibi, you would call it? When was Chris seen last? He was out of town. Can you run that down for us, please?
I don't know when Chris was seen last, besides the source that tells us he was at
Yes.
the job site at 5:15 a.m. on the 26th, which was about a little less than an hour before Sebastian was reported missing.
Reminder again, at this point in time, Chloe was working on behalf of Seth. They have a source that confirmed Chris was on the job site.
He was where? A little less than an hour before he was reported missing?
He was at his job site at St. Jude's in Memphis. He's
February 26th, okay.
a crane operator.
Right.
When he was last seen, though, before that was 8 p.m. His vehicle was seen after that at his RV, but him physically being seen was 8 p.m. the night before.
But
So they tracked back to where he was the night before, where his vehicle was, which I'm assuming he was at his camper sleeping. That would make sense if he was going to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. And this is Seth's PI at the time that was confirming Chris's alibi.
the police have never indicated in any way, shape, or form that they thought Chris had driven home or there was anything nefarious, correct?
They haven't indicated much of anything. Honestly,
Okay.
they've said that the family's been cooperative, and that's it.
Correct. They've been cooperative and their stories were vetted. We'll get into that in just a moment.
They dodge questions about timelines and alibis and things like that.
You mean the police do?
Yes.
Law enforcement is keeping things very close to the vest. But if they had information that there was holes in these alibis and problems with these alibis, the direction, in my opinion, of this case would have at some point changed. I just wanted to remind people, though, that this Chloe was working on behalf of Seth, and she confirms that they have a source that confirmed he was on the job site. They know where his vehicle was. They know where he was the night before at 8 p.m. They had tracked down all of this information previously. Let's go back to this and let Tony finish, because this is, again, where my questions come into play. Sorry if I give you whiplash. We're going to be bouncing back and forth. Y'all know how I weave stuff together here.
And there's a lot of unaccounted time for Chris and what he claims to be his alibi. So, you know, like we said on Vinny's show last night,
Mika, yes.
one thing we can all agree on, because it came directly from Sumner County, is that there is
one thing we can all agree on, because it came directly from Sumner County.
no proof that Sebastian ever left that home. So you're a critical.
There is no proof that Sebastian ever left the home. Supposedly, according to Tony, numerous times he has stated that they have said this over and over again, that now he is saying that this came directly from Sumner County. I'm going to replay that again, but I want to play through the rest of it.
Thinker. How does that happen? How is there no proof he left the home? How is there no scent from the dogs that picked a barefooted child up leaving that home? Well,
I agree with you 100% on that.
I can only think of one or two ways that could happen. And, you know, I can think of a child leaving in a vehicle would keep there from being any scent or proof that he left the home. Not a whole lot of other ways I can think of that would happen, but we all do know that Sumner County has said that there is no proof that he left the home. So
once again, he reiterates that Sumner County said that there's no proof. Meanwhile, the whole thing about the scent, we know that there was a scent that was tracked by a dog. The dog jumped right into the retention pond. There was no source of the scent as far as like It didn't lead them to anybody. There was also dogs that went a different direction. You can listen to the dispatch audio. You can also listen to Chris talking to narked divers and telling them exactly what he was told about said scents. All of that is out there. I have questions about the scents too, but the thing is, at the end of the day, it didn't lead to Sebastian. But for them to take it off the table and say there was no scent whatsoever, it's just not factual. It didn't lead to Sebastian. We don't know anything further than that at this time.
They talk about people of interest. If this were a husband and wife, and your wife went missing, and you were at home with her when she went missing, who would the first person of interest be? Let's take the child out of the equation.
Well, that's common sense, Tony. I mean, we all know that they've been questioned by law enforcement. They've been cooperative. We know that they have been interviewed, re-interviewed. This is just rehashing old stuff. But I want to take it back to this again, just to really put this into perspective. Tony and Beddy. And the reason I'm asking Beddy is I'll show you guys in a moment. I want to know where this came from. What is the source of this? Because you guys have also said that you're not getting any information from Sumner County, that Sumner County is keeping you in the dark. However, you've claimed that you're working with FBI. You're saying that Sumner County said this. We all know. Well, factually speaking, Tony, no, we don't all know, because I've dug high and low alongside some of the best sleuths that I know, Amethyst. And we cannot find the source of this whatsoever, of this. Sumner County said, we know that there's no proof of him leaving the home. We can't find it anywhere. And this isn't the first time I've searched for this.
It's been pushed out of that circle. Now, I think their mission has been to let everybody else know that they feel like they've also been pushed out of that circle. But the truth is, Josh, that there are no rock hard alibis for Chris or Katie. You know, I was at home when it happened and I don't know what happened is not really a rock hard alibi. And there's a lot of unaccounted time for Chris and what he claims to be his alibi. So, you know.
Well, you just heard what Chloe said. As far as confirmed full scale alibis and timelines, we don't know. Some of us have been told more specifics of times and stuff like that, but I can't vet any of that. So it's not even worth bringing publicly, because until it's vetted. And here's the thing. Law enforcement is working this case. It is an open investigation into a disappearance of a 15-year-old teen from Hendersonville, Tennessee, by the name of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. It's not a criminal investigation at this point in time. But carry on, Tony.
Like we said on Vinny's show last night, one thing we can all agree on, because it came directly from Sumner County, is that there is no proof that Sebastian ever left that home. So you're a critical thinker. How does that happen? How is there no proof he left the home? How is there no scent from the dogs that picked a barefooted child up leaving that home? Well, I can only think of one or two ways that could happen. And, you know, I can think of a child leaving in a vehicle would keep there from being any scent or proof that he left the home. Not a whole lot of other ways I can think of that would happen. But we all do know that Sumner County has said that there is no proof that he left the home. So when they talk about...
So once again, he says, we all know Sumner County said this. Where did Sumner County say this, Tony?
About people of interest, if this were a husband and wife.
Let's move forward. We got more clips to go through. Okay, let's go to Beddy from today. Let's go to Beddy. Beddy doesn't say this specifically, but she works herself around it. We're going to go to the 21-minute mark. We'll start here, 2026.
And the residents, as well as the visitors of the area, so-called outsiders. We don't have to ask their permission. We would love nothing more than to work with them and send them as many leads, but they have prevented that from happening because, one, they don't call people back when they do submit leads. Neither does TBI. So what we're going to be doing is...
Why would they call back? If you're calling in a verified lead, you call in a lead and law enforcement investigates it, and they're not going to call people randomly back and tell you, well, this led here. That, like, they're not, that's not how tips and leads work. You call in a tip, they're 9 times out of 10, unless it's something that's got some gravity to it or some weight to it, unless they needed more follow-up information, they're not going to call people back, period. Point blank, end of story. That is ridiculous, to say the least. Completely ridiculous. Again, this is from Beddy from today.
We're going to be sending any and all leads over to the FBI once they are vetted. So what we're going to do is start working on getting, I know we've done this before, but we started working, 8 months. You have strength and tenacity to make it through this. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And whatever the result will be as well, right? Whatever the result will be as well.
Kind of be, right?
I'm being civilly disobedient, and I'm going to exercise my Constitution. And anybody that wants to, any government official that wants to infringe upon that is wrong, period. They're wrong.
Lauren, I got you. I got them all pulled up and ready to go. We're going to go down that road too. Just because I really want to know, where is this coming from? Where, and Beddy has said this before too, that there's no proof of him leaving the home. She kind of tiptoes around some stuff today. We're not going to watch this for very long, but I want you to hear like this whole new kick up. Like, they're not returning calls over tips. Like, why would they? Why would they?
Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is a 15-year-old boy that disappeared. These are the facts of this case, the facts that are in the news, the facts that have been spoken out of law enforcement's mouth,
Okay.
the facts that have been spoken out of every single one of the parents that are involved's mouth. These are
okay. These are in the news, spoken by law enforcement and the parents. Okay, let's go.
facts that are on public information,
Okay.
in public profiles, on public platforms, including mainstream media.
Okay.
So what we are going to be doing is going through all that information. So he is a 15-year-old, medically needy, high-functioning, autistic child.
It's called medically complex.
That appeared to be a very happy child on its face. But what we don't know is what the teachers know. What we don't know is what the CPS reports know. What we don't know is...
Well, you wouldn't be involved in that, but Seth says he does. You're saying you don't know, but you've been trying to amp up your audience recently that you know, and it's so horrifying. And from what Seth has said, it's very bad and it's terrifying and yada, yada, yada.
What law enforcement truly has, and whether they are further along today than they were on February 26th when this young man allegedly disappeared or allegedly walked out of his home.
Allegedly disappeared or allegedly walked out of his home. You want to know if they're further along. But Tony's saying, you guys know that Sumner County said that there's zero proof of him leaving the home. Tony said Sumner County said that. Huh?
We did not produce the flashlight video. Mainstream media produced a flashlight video that showed...
Actually, it was, factually speaking, it was Nick Barris.
2 people, or what appeared to be 2 people with...
And let me tell you a date on that, just so you guys all know. You can go check this too. Nick Barris produced the flashlight video to the public on March 14th.
Flashlights going to an unidentified car and one person going back toward the home where this child disappeared from. Those are facts.
And factually speaking, here is what the post says from Nick Barris. You can check this on Facebook under the Nick Barris account. It says, okay, here's your Facebook exclusive for following this page. As many of you already know, I obtained exclusive security camera video that shows 2 people near Sebastian Rogers' home the night of the 15-year-old disappeared more than 2 weeks ago. This video is from early Monday morning, February 26th at 3:10 a.m. It is believed Sebastian left home barefoot with a flashlight sometime overnight. The video is significant because it shows activity around Sebastian's home the night he vanished. I shared one brief clip yesterday, so he shared the 13th. You basically see 2 lights, believed to be 2 people holding small flashlights near Sebastian's home. I've since obtained more video. And here I am dropping a longer clip. Many of you will look at this and scratch your head. I did at first, but I will spell it out all out for you, an exclusive report tonight on News Channel 5 at 6, and I'll post the story here after it airs. I can tell you authorities are currently working to enhance the video and consider it a potentially very important piece of evidence, but it is still too early to know for sure. Also, stay tuned. Another Facebook Live to come soon to explain. More to come. Did any of you hear anything about a car? Did anybody hear anything about a car in that? Because I sure didn't hear anything about a car. And then we actually have this.
The video you are about to see is from early Monday morning, February 26th, around 3:10 a.m. Now, there are no street lights in the Stafford Court neighborhood, so it is at night, pitch black. What you will see here are these 2 points of light, believed to be people with flashlights in the area around Sebastian Rogers' Hendersonville home. It is believed Sebastian left his home barefoot and with a flashlight sometime overnight. Since his disappearance, authorities have reviewed security video from homes in the neighborhood looking for clues. We've had several clips that have come in, and this one is getting the most attention, showing signs of activity around Sebastian's home the night he disappeared. You see 2 light sources, which we've circled to help you follow. For point of reference, the security camera was pointed toward the back of Sebastian's home in a common area. In the video, you see subject 1 with a light source in the lower right-hand corner. Then you see subject 2 briefly appear and move toward the first before that light source is covered or obscured by bushes. Subject 1, a few seconds later, then moves out of frame. Then subject 2 reappears and follows subject 1 off screen. It's a short time later and it's very vague, but then you see one of the subjects moving quickly back through the...
Correct me. Correct. But I just want to correct Beddy right here, because even in the leaked video that was put out here, there is no mention of a car. Period. Point blank. End of story. They keep adding details to these confirmed facts or whatever they're attempting to do, and it's fallen flat.
Common area, and that is it. I know there's not much to see here. You certainly...
And that is it. There's not much to see here.
Cannot identify anyone, but those close to the investigation tell me the mere fact that there is now evidence that someone is in the area around Sebastian's home is significant. This video shows suspicious activity in the immediate area the night Sebastian disappeared. Could one of these subjects have been Sebastian? Did he meet and leave with someone? Sebastian's father says his son would not go with a stranger.
It's up in the air for me because I don't think he would get into a vehicle with somebody unless he knew them.
So what exactly are we seeing here? I know investigators are doing what they can to try enhancing the video for any more clues. For now, this video is now part of the Sebastian Rogers missing person file, and I'm told it could become more significant depending on where the ongoing investigation leads. We'll be following that. Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
All right. So again, no mention of a car, right? No mention of a car, but they've added that detail to this.
Facts. Those are things that we saw with our own eyes.
No, we didn't. I didn't see a car. We don't know what's going to come of this. These are part of investigative details that we're not privy to. Law enforcement is working on this. This was a video that was put out there. There since has been people that have added audio to it. There's no audio to the original clip. Nick confirmed that. But they keep adding all of these details to these stories. Just like we heard Tony say that Sumner County confirmed that there's no proof of him leaving. Where was that said?
And those were things that were released by mainstream media. Now we move forward to...
And again, Nick Barris never mentioned a car.
That day. What did we learn that day? We went back all the way to February 26th to the drawing board. And what we learned from Eric Craddock himself, we'd call him Sheriff, but I will just call him Eric Craddock. That's about as respectful as I can be to that man. What we learned from Eric Craddock is that even though we heard that a dog because there was other people, laymen, people like me out there.
They're all a team. The team needs to have a team meeting and get on the same page first and foremost. I just got to point that out because Tony said there's no sense.
And searching for just normal Joes out there searching for this boy. And one of them was with the canine unit that this dog caught a track and they followed it to a retaining pond where this dog leaped into the retaining pond.
You can listen to the full breakdown of the audio from the dispatch call on Jessica Danielle's page. She did an amazing job following that and breaking it all down. You can hear exactly what happened with dispatch and the canine handler.
Jessica Danielle released the clips of all of the back and forth radio conversations between all of the agents there on the ground, speaking back and forth. And you could clearly hear that officer saying, I don't know what happened. My dog has never done that before. And he was referring to the dog literally leaping into the retaining pond. We learned from Eric Craddock in a news conference that was not Sebastian's scent, making everybody scratch their head.
But Tony said there's no scent. You guys need to get it together.
Well, we could hear clearly the canine unit said that he picked up a scent, and he surely did dive into a retaining pond. We definitely heard that on the radio. So whose scent was that dog's that dog following? And then Gray Hughes puts a map that he was on good terms with the stepfather, and he prepared a map that was described to him about where the dog scent started picking up and where it led. And we take that line that Gray Hughes prepared with the stepfather, and we overlaid that with the flashlight video.
Does anybody remember when Beddy was out there in the neighborhood and what she said about those lights? Anybody remember what she said about the trees and the lights?
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Whoever was those flashlights. We don't know who it was. We just see two dots. Whoever those flashlights were, it seems to me like the dogs were tracking if you overlay the pieces of information that we have available to us. It's a little weird and a little worrisome. But now we want to fast forward to today.
Okay, let's do that.
Today, Sebastian still hasn't been found. It doesn't appear that law enforcement is any closer to finding this child. It doesn't sound like the Department of Children and Family Services are doing anything about the reports that they had received, even though we're not privy to them. We can see the anger and hurt on Seth's face when he talks about his son and when he talks about these reports that he can't reveal what's in them. Seth is hurt. He got up one day, Sunday evening, got on his uniform, loaded up in his pickup truck, and headed off to work at the Davidson County Jail. He goes in, he has a key card to get into the parking garage. He parks his vehicle. He makes his way into the building. He clocks in, and he starts his evening 12-hour shift. He's not allowed to have his phone inside jail. There's a protocol. He can't have it. I don't know if it was out in the car. It sounds like he leaves it in the car versus in his I got to think that they have like lockers or something like that there, even though I'm assuming that. I didn't ever ask, I just assume it. So it may not be true. There may not be any lockers, and maybe exactly why he leaves his phone in the car, but it sounds like he left the phone in the car. So he does his 12-hour shift, probably normal, like every other evening. Most of the inmates are sleeping or should be sleeping. So hopefully with, outside of a few possibilities of problems in the jail, he should probably have a very normal shift. And I would assume that it was fairly normal that day. He gets off around 7. He's got to hang out there for a few minutes to see if he's required to stay there, like if somebody's running late, because their protocols require somebody to be manning the pods. how they don't release those CPS reports. I hope they don't release those CPS reports. We don't need to know what could be in them, what led to exactly where Sebastian, what does it say? We don't need to know what could be in them that would lead exactly to Sebastian's whereabouts. Well, what we don't know is what we don't know. How do we know that it won't be? How do we know that it won't be? I can tell you this. It's my understanding that law enforcement had these reports since the end of the first week, from my understanding.
Of course, law enforcement, in my opinion, would have had these in the first couple days. I just want you to pay attention to the scene that they're setting, okay? So they went on court TV, they went on the lab, Beddy's came out, all of these things, right? We're going to go back and listen to what Tony said once again when I change gears again, because I've got some more stuff pulled up for you. But I've got questions, Tony and Beddy. Where are all of these things that law enforcement have said? Where did this car come into place that mainstream media talked about? Because I consider myself pretty handsy, pretty good at sleuthing some things out and getting back to the source. I can't find it. Can't find it anywhere. So I'm assuming you guys are really easily able to drop me a timestamp in the exact article interview where Sumner County says there's no proof of him leaving the home. I'm also 100% sure that you can point me to the direction where mainstream media talks about a car. I'm sure of that. So I will greatly be looking forward to a response from one of the team members of where to find these exact things that have been regurgitated over and over again and stated as fact from your team.
From several sources I've spoken to. So, we don't know what's in those. How do we know that there isn't something in there that will lead to his whereabouts? We don't know. What we don't know, right? It's sad that there's reports at all. I think that's my biggest concern,
No, Am does a lot more than that. Am is my emotional support that I say, okay, I'm thinking this. She's thinking this. How do we get to this? Okay, wait, let's go pull this, and this. Don't let Am fool you at all. She is like the emotional support. My girls around me are like my emotional support heroes. Revival, T, Am, so on. Helen, they all pick up pieces and help me with so much more than they, even if it's most of the time we just talk about normal shit, truly, but they all do a lot more in the background than you guys even. They keep me sane most of the time. They keep me sane. That's what they do.
Why is there reports at all? And while there's some damage control distractors out there trying to say that Seth has some, I have
damage control distractors. Tony said on BJ's stream when he came in that he came in to clean things up. Tony is the damage control distractor, ma'am. His own words confirm that from BJ's panel, where he tried to control the narrative and stop the questioning, which worked.
I haven't heard or seen anything except from a person that's been known to lie, So, but what we don't know is what we don't know. What if something in there does lead to his whereabouts? How do you know it doesn't?
Revival. Oh, you guys.
We have a missing child here, and we have Department of Children and Family Services complaints. That's a problem for me. I mean, we had that in the Summer Wells case, and you guys know how I feel about it. Like, we spend billions of dollars a year for our children and family services, and it's not enough because it's ran by a bunch of bureaucrats that are underfunding these departments.
So if there's a problem, and there was reports to CPS, DCFS, Department of Children, or Department whatever they're trying to call it. It's Family Services, Department of Children and Family Services, whatever their lingo is for whatever state it's in. It changes from who's talking about it. It's all the same thing. CPS, so on and so forth. If there is these reports, right, and there is allegations of abuse that were not checked into, there was issues with that, why are they not going after the state? Why aren't they going after, why haven't they filed something against the state of Tennessee for failing to act? Why haven't they done something like that? If there's all these hefty allegations and proof of abuse that they're trying to claim, once again, we have no proof of that whatsoever. But Tony and Seth are making it seem like, and Tony even says that there is proof on the lab. He talks about, he says, or Josh asked him a question and he says, well, to say that wouldn't be true, basically, because Josh is like, we don't have proof of this. And he's like, well, that would not be true, however he says it. But they're trying to make everybody think that there's all of these situations, right? That CPS failed to act. He's got the proof of them, blah, 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 blah. Why aren't they filing something against the state? Anybody question that?
Social workers, and you can't blame it on all the social workers. You'd like to think that I have to think that people that are social workers did this job much like teachers, much like law enforcement, because they have pride, they have they have purpose in the job. They're doing it as a passion item, for the good. I have to think that there's a lot of people that are in the Department of Children and Family Services that are good people. Just like law enforcement, there's a lot of great law enforcement. There's some bad ones, and the
Land the plane, Beddy.
bad apples really make it look bad for everybody else that are good people. But we can't keep blaming it on the social workers. This one, I think we can, because
this one, I think we can. We can blame it on a social worker. Meanwhile, we have no idea what the hell is even going on. They're just dangling carrots out here and trying to make a narrative about things that we don't even know if there's any basis of fact in any of it.
This was really, really bad not to even inform the father. But I digress. We don't know what the situation is. Is it something that they just didn't have funding for? How many cases did this caseworker have? But at the end of the day, we hire, we fund, our taxpayer money funds the Department of Children and Family Services. So when children need to be removed from homes, there's a mechanism to remove them from homes.
So if you are always talking about how you protest, you're an advocate for children. Why wouldn't that be your first avenue? If there is a problem here and nothing was acted upon, why wouldn't you be protesting Department of Child and Family Services? Why wouldn't you be filing something? Why wouldn't Seth be filing something against the state of Tennessee for failing to act to protect his child? See, every time you come out and try to emotionally manipulate people and dangle carrots, there's going to be questions that need to be answered. But let's get back to it.
And here's two scenarios in Tennessee. So, and they're not from the same area. So this tells me that there's an issue here in Tennessee. There's a lot of issues in Tennessee. We've been talking about Tennessee for years. But it seems like every single one of these children that keep disappearing has had the Department of Children and Family Services involved before their disappearance. In many cases, right before their disappearance. Summer Wells, the Department of Children and Family Services were there that day. The day before she disappeared. And then all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. She has the day, goes out with her mom out there and, doing the water hole swimming. God knows what happened. And she disappeared that evening when they returned home after dropping off a family friend. But the Department of Children and Family Services were at their home the day before. And I can tell you, Don Wells told me personally when I was at his house.
And once again, trying to mix the two cases together to emotionally amp up her audience. This is the art of confusion.
Because I was down the mountain, I hollered out, he was working on his truck. I said, hey, Don, want to come down and talk to me? He goes, who's that? I said, Bullhorn. And he did. He came down and talked to me. I mean, him had a really good conversation. I wanted to, like I told him.
Well, factually speaking, she even admitted that the authorities had all of this. She claims by the end of the first week. The authorities had this information. If there was reports like they're talking, allegations, like they had all of this information. They talked to the school. They were all over the school, talked to the teachers, the counselors, the principals. They were all over. They did all of this within the first, I would say, 72 hours of him being missing. They were very well aware. Seth had to hire an attorney to get these records. He claims he was not knowledgeable about them. Do we know if that's true? No, we do not.
I've been searching. He knows I'm one of the hardest searchers for his daughter. It's an unfortunate situation because everything leads back to his house. But, I asked him, who do we need to look at? And he started telling me that the day before, the Department of Children and Family Services was at his house. He said they said they were closing the case. That's what he said. They're closing the case. That's what they told him. And as they were leaving, Summer was outside of the house, and the supervisor, because it was a guy and a woman, and the woman apparently was the supervisor. And so while the guy was talking to Don and Candace, the supervisor had saw Summer over at the corner of the house, and went over to the corner of the house and chatted with her for a little bit alone. That's what Don Wells told me to my face. And Chronicles of Olivia was there with me when this
again, has nothing to do with Sebastian's case whatsoever, but this is to create chaos, to amp people up about CPS and CPS potentially failing. This is to emotionally pull her audience in that, oh, CPS did something and they hid something and they're up to something. Again, I go back to, if that's the case, why haven't they filed anything against the state? If there's all these allegations and they're so terrible, like they're trying to lead people to believe, why haven't they filed anything? Why aren't you protesting CPS? Why aren't you protesting Department of Child and Family Services? Why?
conversation happened. She overheard exactly what I heard. And he was basically trying to say that his daughter disappeared about the same time, that very next day, within 24 hours. And he basically believes it's the Department of Children and Family Services that came on his property and took his daughter. That's what he told me the last time I had met with him. So I told him I would look into it. I didn't find any ground with that either. You know, every week he has given me or the team, we have looked into, we have interviewed the people and everything like that. And there was nothing, right? So that's when I learned that the Department of Children and Family Services lady spoke to Summer by herself. It always made me wonder, did Summer go back in, or was she given a Spanish Inquisition about the conversation? And were they concerned about what Summer had said to the Department of Children and Family Services worker? I don't know. They didn't want CPS contacting Seth or keeping them from placing Sebastian with Seth. Well, that is kind of, who is that? Alicia? Yeah, I that's a good theory, but we don't really have that confirmed. We don't have any information related to that just yet. I mean, we do know the CPS was there, and we do know that Seth wasn't contacted.
We don't know that. We don't know that. That's, again, words. Words. You can take to choose and believe what you want to. If we're going to believe one at face value, I guess we can believe them all at face value. But as far as what we know, factually speaking, from law enforcement, we don't know. We have no idea. Sorry, Dexter needs treats.
But I'm not sure if we really know on its face, unless where did you hear that to keep him from placing Sebastian with Seth? Oh, you're just assuming that, or what? I mean, I'm just trying to clarify. That's all. But why not? What were they hiding? In my opinion, I get it. Who is that? I can't read that. I can't see it. This dark shirt's not helping me with the green. Is that Chaz? Chaz, it's nice to see you. Hey, Phil, good to see you as well. Who is this? Did I miss one? April Rain, it's nice to see you. I'll go back through all the members and stuff here in just a little bit. Welcome to our crazy family we call the Coffee Club, aka the Insane Asylum. Oh, Misty Loon, it's nice to see.
At least you got one thing right over there today.
Here's it, Lynn. I can't see. Good morning, Betty, and all my Coffee Club family and our family who are also a part of Sebastian's army. Yes. Oh, we need to get back to, that's another thing they were distracting us from, getting back to lighting it up green. We've been lighting it up green all over the world.
They were distracting us from lighting it up green. Who was distracting you from lighting it up green? What? Betty, just stop. Let's go back and remind everybody what we're talking about here, just so everybody hears this before I carry on, because we're going to move on from Betty for a minute. We can go back to that in a few. But this is what I really want to know. I want proof. You claim that this was said. I just need a source. I need a source of where this was said. Date, time, source.
Hard alibis for Chris or Katie. You know, I was at home when it happened and I don't know what happened is not really a rock hard alibi. And there's a lot of unaccounted time for Chris and what he claims to be his alibi. So, you know, like we said on Vinny's show last night, one thing we can all agree on, because it came directly from Sumner County, is that there is no proof that Sebastian ever left that home. So you're a critical thinker. How does that happen? How is there no proof he left the home? How is there no scent from the dogs that picked a barefooted child up leaving that home? Well, I can only think of one or two ways that could happen. And, you know, I can think of a child leaving in a vehicle would keep there from being.
They really need to get together and get their stories straight, because he says one thing, Betty contradicts it. Betty says one thing, they contradict it. They need to get on the same page and push the same stories, because they sound like blubbering idiots out here, in my opinion.
Being any scent or proof that he left the home. Not a whole lot of other ways I can think of that would happen, but we all do know that Sumner County has said that there is no proof that he left the home. So when they talk about people of
Again, he stated twice in that under 2 minute clip that there is proof that Sumner County said this. Where did Sumner County say this? Let's go take a little gander over here at a few of the things Sumner County has said since Sebastian went missing. Let's just kind of start in chronological order here.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Eric Craddock from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, and I'm the Chief Deputy here, joined by Ken Weiner, the Director of Sumner County EMA. Wanted to come to the public and give you guys an update on the search for Sebastian Rogers. Last Monday morning at about 6:30, Sebastian was reported missing from his home. Since then, we've conducted an extensive and exhaustive search around the home, looking for any evidence, any trace of Sebastian. At this time, the decision's been made.
Craddock, just so you know, you're getting a lot of heat by these weirdos online, but I still think you're a handsome, nice man. Okay. I gotta, this poor guy has gotten trashed because these people on YouTube need somebody to play the bad guy. I think at first everybody was calling him Officer McHaughty even at one point in time. I won't go that far, but he kind of reminds me of Kyle in a little bit of a way. He just doesn't have as gray hair as Kyle does yet.
Made to scale back on the ground search operations. Let me be clear that this does not diminish our commitment to finding Sebastian. This is simply us transitioning from the ground search to the investigative side. We are still committed to finding Sebastian and bringing him home safe. We have no leads, no details to indicate that Sebastian is not alive.
What did he just say? Oh.
We are going to follow up on every lead. We have a planned response if anyone has a sighting of Sebastian. Our patrol deputies will be out. Our investigators will be out. We are still coordinating with law enforcement across the state. We are still consulting with experts. This decision does not come lightly. We have consulted with, and I've deferred to the experts in search and rescue. Every time we've asked, they've said you've done everything you can do. At this time, Director Weiner.
Yeah. So we'll continue to have a command post at the fire station there. We won't man it 24/7, but we will have K9 units in the area. We'll have teams ready to go. The sheriff's office will have deputies on patrol, and if we get any report, we'll respond to that location. We'll send K9 to that location and search teams should we get any information. So we will continue, and any tips we get, we will reactivate to the level we need to respond with.
I'd like to take a moment and thank all the first responders from across the state of Tennessee that have come out and help us in the search for Sebastian. They've come from as far as Knox County. We've called in the state National Guard to help. The Army National Guard was here to help. If there was a resource we thought we could utilize to help locate Sebastian, we've used it. And we will continue to do so based on the leads that come in. The Sheriff's Office continues to urge families to check your properties, to check your cameras. No detail is too small. If you have a detail that you think is important, please call 615-451-3838. Thank you.
All right. Well, let's keep going. I'm sure we can find it, right? It's got to exist.
And right now, Sebastian's parents say they are focusing on staying hopeful in all of this for Sebastian's return, even as the search we know is now changing. And for more on that part of the story, we're going to check in with my colleague, Danielle Ledbetter. Good afternoon, Danielle.
Yeah, Holly. So today, law enforcement officials told me they have thrown everything they possibly can at this search, but now they're shifting their focus.
At this time, the decision's been made to scale back on the ground search operations.
The announcement is coming 8 days into the search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. Law enforcement said the decision did not come lightly.
Let me be clear that this does not diminish our commitment to finding Sebastian. This is simply us transitioning from the ground search to the investigative side.
They will continue to keep the command center open and prepared to respond if someone spots the teen. They're still seeking information from the public.
The Sheriff's Office continues to urge families to check your properties, to check your cameras. No detail is too small.
And tonight, a lot of questions still remain, but law enforcement officials did not take any additional questions at today's press conference. But they did say there's no indication that Sebastian is not alive.
Now been 2 weeks since Sebastian
Well, shyster, it's got to be here.
Rogers was reported missing. Crews have searched high and low and followed every lead, but still no signs of the Hendersonville teen. So last night, the community came together for a prayer vigil. Dozens of people showed up wearing green, Sebastian's favorite color.
Sebastian's biological father, Seth Rogers, attended that candlelight vigil and for the first time spoke at length about his son's disappearance.
Nick is live from our 5 Alert Center this morning. And Nick, this is his first television interview, and it's with you.
That's right. You know, he's issued a few brief statements by phone, but the rest of the time he says he's been spent focusing on the search for his son, but now finally speaking out publicly on TV. 2 weeks after the teen disappeared, the father says he's not giving up hope.
Wait, did Nick just say it took 2 weeks for Seth to do an interview? Oh, but they've drugged Chris and Katie about not coming out and asking for media attention. Oh, and he did that after they came out? Oh, shit.
I'm hoping he's still alive. You know, that's my main hope right now.
That is his focus. Seth Rogers wants to believe his son is still alive somewhere. He says he is in contact with law enforcement every single day. And like them, he says he is completely at a loss to explain exactly what happened to his son. It's a mystery. The working story, of course, is that Sebastian, who has autism, walked away from his Hendersonville home in the middle of the night, barefoot and alone. But Rogers says no.
Wait. Did you hear that?
He says it makes absolutely no sense that search crews and bloodhounds have found no trace of the boy. And he says
the working theory. You guys want to hear that again?
Lost to explain exactly what happened to his son. It's a mystery. The working story, of course, is that Sebastian, who has autism, walked away from his Hendersonville home in the middle of the night, barefoot and alone. But Rogers says no. He says it makes absolutely no sense that search crews and bloodhounds have found no trace of the boy. And he says Sebastian was not the type of child who would just wander away like this on his own.
In order for him to actually do something that's out of the normal, something would have had to happen that he just felt that he couldn't deal with anymore.
What that is and how, no one really knows, and Seth Rogers can't explain that. But I can tell you, he doesn't like to think that this is a possibility, but he does not rule out the chance that there is foul play involved in what happened to his son. He knows that if his son...
Anybody have question marks just pop up above their heads like the little bubbles?
He would, and is very able. He knows how to work a phone and communicate. He would reach out to the father for help. I can tell you, Seth went on to share a number of other new details, and not only about the investigation, but personal details about his son, which may help in finding him. I'll have much more on this later this morning and tonight on News Channel 5 at 5 and 6.
Hey, good.
All right, let's go to another one. Let's go to this one. Okay. So this is the one I'm assuming we're going to find this in, right? This is the longest press conference. This is the last big press conference. This is where the TBI comes in. I'm assuming in this one, it's got to be in this one, right? That Sumner County is going to say that they have no proof of Sebastian walking out that home. That there's no proof that he walked out of the home. I'm positive we're going to find it in this 13-minute clip, right? Well, let's watch and see. You guys need a reminder of what Tony claims? You want a reminder right quick what we're looking for exactly? Here, let's go ahead and do that. Just so nobody's lost and everybody's on the same page.
Came directly from Sumner County is that there is no proof that Sebastian ever left that home. So you're a critical thinker. How does that happen? How is there no proof he left the home? How is there no scent from the dogs that picked a barefooted child up leaving that home? Well, I can only think of one or two ways that could happen. And, you know, I can think of a child leaving in a vehicle would keep there from being any scent or proof that he left the home. Not a whole lot of other ways I can think of that would happen, but we all do know that Sumner County has said that there is no proof that he left the home. So when
Okay, so Sumner, we all know, right? According to Tony, we all know. So it's got to be in this one. It's got to be here, right? If you don't know, I'm being extremely sarcastic because, of course, I've already watched this. But let's go here. Let's let everybody see. I'm going to turn closed captioning on for everybody so you can hear, see. Let's roll. This is from April 2nd, 2024.
All right, I am Eric Craddock, ERIC-CRADDOCK, and I'm the Chief Deputy at the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. I'm joined today by Susan Nyland, SUSAN-NILAND, of the Tennessee.
Michael, I'm assuming Tony or Beddy or Seth, because they've all been saying the same things over and over and over again. And Tony took it further and said it was directly from Sumner County. I'm assuming they'll be able to point us to the exact location of this comment. Beddy's claiming that all of this has been gathered from public sources, media, interviews, press conferences, those things. So I'm assuming it's in one of the articles that of Nick, except I went through all of those, couldn't find it. But I'm assuming the team will be able to point us directly to this information, and they will be glad to do so we can play that for everybody. I'm guaranteeing that the team members will absolutely come out and say, here is the interview. This is exactly what was said, the time and date. That's all I want. I just want to know exactly what they said and where it is.
Bureau of Investigation, she's the PIM. I also have with me Sumner County Emergency Management Director Ken Widener, KenWeidner. You guys ready? All right. Morning. I'm Eric Craddock with Sumner County Sheriff's Office, and we're going to come to you today with an update on the Sebastian Rogers case.
Let me make sure it's slowed down. It is normal speed. Okay.
Sebastian has been missing since late February. The investigation remains ongoing with steadfast support from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, and many other local and federal resources. We are exploring every lead that comes in and every tip that comes in. As I said before, the investigation remains ongoing. The entire community is deeply saddened by what has occurred. We're all extremely concerned for Sebastian's welfare. I want to encourage the community to stay vigilant, to report anything that they think may be of some significance to the investigation, no matter how minute it may appear to be to you. Please call 1-800-TBI-FIND with any tips, or the Sumner County Emergency Communications Center at 615-451-3838. We understand the anxiety and the concern that this case has caused in the community. We too share the anxiety and concern for Sebastian. I want to reiterate that we are doing everything we can to find Sebastian and bring him home. Despite the passage of time, the commitment to finding Sebastian remains unwavering. I said this when we scaled the search back. Our commitment to finding Sebastian remains. We will continue to investigate every possible lead that comes in. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office wants to express our gratitude.
Up to good. And not only do they refer to it often, it has now became one of those things that, in my opinion, is like the power of suggestion. You tell people it happened over and over again. People start believing it. They start believing that they heard it. They start confirming that they've heard it, that they remember it being said. Could it have been said? Yes. I can't find it. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It means I can't find it. A lot of us have looked, and nobody at this point in time has been able to pull out the clip and be like, here it is. Here's where Sumner County said that. And you would think that the team would have been really pushing this clip as many times as they've said it, because all of the team members continue to go back to, there's no proof that he left the home. There's no proof. But I can't find Sumner County saying that. Could it be a nonsense not knowing? Absolutely.
To the community and the many individuals who have helped in the search, the many individuals who have called in tips, the many individuals who have printed flyers and kept Sebastian's face in the news. Nothing would make me happier than to wake up tomorrow morning with a tip that cracks this case wide open and we find Sebastian and bring him home. At this time, I'll turn it over to Susan Nyland from the TBI.
Thank you, WG.
I want everybody to pay attention to what this lady is about to say.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for being here. We know how invested everybody is in the search for Sebastian, in finding out what happened to him and bringing him home.
Mr. Tomato Head, give me 1 second. You brought that up. Let me grab you that really quick. I think that is this one. Let me see. Give me 1 moment here. I think you're talking this one.
Nick Barris here, and I'm with Sumner County Sheriff's Chief Deputy Eric Braddock, talking a bit about an update on the search for Sebastian Rogers. Just, this is the first time we've heard from you in a while, and that's because you guys have been busy investigating. That's right. Anything new to report at this stage? No, sir. Nothing. 5 weeks? No, sir. Just asking, what is being done at this point? What does the public need to know that you continue to do in the search?
We continue to investigate and follow up on every tip or lead that comes in.
Any evidence of foul play?
There's no evidence to support foul play.
But you can't rule it out necessarily. You're ruling nothing out at this point.
That's right. I'm ruling nothing.
And as far as the public, what you could ask them to continue to do?
Remain vigilant. If they see something, say something. Call 1-800-TBI-FINE or 615-451-3838 with any tips or leads.
Okay. We'll have much more on this story to come.
Is that the one you're talking about where they sit down? He's sitting down with Nick Barris? Could be. Let's go back to this. That was 5 weeks after Sebastian went missing when Nick sat down with Eric Craddock. And they're actually sitting in chairs in that one.
And we want to let everybody know he has not been forgotten. Nobody's forgotten about him. Nobody has given up looking for him. At the beginning of this investigation, there was a large land search for him. It was very visible. There were also waterways, lakes, ponds that were searched. There were aerial searches with helicopters and drones and fixed wing planes. They were done at night. They were done on weekends. They were done during the day. That was very visible, and it was something everybody was able to see. But we want to let you know that even though there is not that high visibility in investigating this case, that we are not done. It's gone back to what could be considered good old-fashioned police work. Interviewing individuals, re-interviewing.
Oh, I got you, Mr. Tomato Head, on the lights. I'll grab that too.
Individuals, checking out leads, rechecking leads. We have been working with other law enforcement agencies who have had, in other jurisdictions, who have perhaps had some complex cases of their own that they have worked on to get tips from them. We have had, this day of technology with everyone having cell phones and doorbells and ring bells and
runs with scissors. I have that pulled up. That's where we're headed directly after this. I've got that right up there. We're going there next.
And surveillance cameras, that, as you can imagine, has been a bit of a chore to be able to collect all those and then review them. It's important so we know what's out there. We have been reviewing that, reviewing it again. We have had other agencies involved. The FBI has been helpful in that. Secret Service has also been helpful in that. So we are just trying to do whatever we can to advance the investigation. It has not gone to a place where anybody has forgotten about him or is not pursuing this. The parents have been cooperative throughout. At the beginning of the investigation, they have pretty much done whatever law enforcement has asked of them. At this point, we don't have any evidence. There is not any kind of an indication that there is a criminal element involved. But we are keeping options open. We don't know what has happened. We don't know where Sebastian is right now. So we are pursuing any and all avenues. We do want to caution there are some social media elements out there who purport to have information that is direct from the investigation. I just want to reiterate that is not the case. Some of the information that is being provided on some of the social media channels is inaccurate, incomplete. we don't want this to damage the investigation. So we would just caution anyone who is following the case to just use some caution as to what you see and what you believe.
And we've seen how that is carried forward the entire time.
It's caused a bit of a distraction because a lot of what has been out there in some of the social media channels has been rumors and speculations and theories, and some of that has been advanced and people have caught a hold of it as if it's what's really happening. That has resulted in...
Michael, I appreciate you. If you do, you'll probably get blocked. But I'm assuming one of them will come out with the article, the clips. There is a Fox News article that's written kind of weird after Katie sat down with Fox and Friends that says it's the verbiage of it is a little misleading. We found some of that. We've been searching high and low for it, but we're all like scratching our heads on this. But I'm sure that's why I'm asking this. Where do they've been saying this all along. Where is that coming from? Because it's supposedly directly from Sumner County, according to Tony.
Us getting information that is either, like I said, distracting. It's taking away time and effort from what the agencies need to be doing as far as looking for Sebastian. We have had so far, as of this morning, 314 tips that have come in through the tip line. It's been mentioned, but I'll say it again. It's 1-800-TBI-FIND. We are also taking tips through email, which is tips to TBI, TBI, at tbi.tn.gov. What's next? We want people, as Chief Deputy said, to continue to remain vigilant, get
Michael will send in help.
Sebastian's picture out there, continue to share his picture, his information. Now that it's getting to be nicer, well, not today with the weather, but now that the weather has turned warmer, people may be more inclined to be in their yards. If you go out and see anything that looks different, let us know. Something where perhaps a teenager could have hidden. If you have a large amount of property in the area or something that has any kind of holes or unstable footing or ledges where a teen could have gone to hide or to play, and you don't feel comfortable checking it out, let us know. We'll get somebody from law enforcement to go out there with you or to check it out themselves. We just want to make sure that every stone is unturned, that there's no stone left unturned, that we want people to make sure that we are looking everywhere we can. We do want to continue to get the tips, but please don't provide information that you might have seen through social media channels. If you have information about Sebastian, about conversations you might have had with him, things he likes to do, places he liked to go, any people he may have mentioned that are in his life, that could be helpful in finding out maybe what he was interested in. Finally, we want to thank the community. We want to thank the media. You guys have been really good about keeping his name in the public's eye. That's really important. And thank you for your diligence in providing that information out there. And as Chief Deputy said, we also want to thank the community. From the very first day, everybody has really been all in as far as whatever they can do to help in the search, to help pass information on, providing water for the teams that were out conducting the ground searches. So thank you again to everybody. I'm going to pass it back to Eric Credit.
The weather is rolling in. We've got time for some questions. So yes, ma'am.
Maybe it's in this part.
I was a few minutes behind, so sorry if I missed this, but has there been any indication at this point of foul play or anything of that nature?
There is no evidence to support foul play is involved in the disappearance of Sebastian.
But at this point, you don't rule it out.
We're not ruling anything out.
So 5 weeks, and you guys covered so much ground, searching, going back, researching, checked out every case of a possible sighting, nothing confirmed.
Hey, Wolfie.
Not a trace of Sebastian anywhere, nothing found. No footprints, no video, nothing.
Nothing that is taking us to locate Sebastian.
And are there any working theories?
We come up with theories almost daily and try and investigate and make sure that we're doing everything we can to find Sebastian.
Share any of those?
No, sir.
Two questions, if I may. Have you ruled out Sebastian's mom's and stepdad's involvement in this case? And as a follow-up, have you cleared their alibi?
I think the TBI said it best. They've been nothing but cooperative with law enforcement since day one of this investigation. There is no evidence to support.
Wolfie, you know me. I'm not going to let anybody pretend to be you, especially with all the crap that's been going on lately. I'm just glad I have an avenue to do that. I was like, I'm going to go off the rails if it's not actually Wolfie.
Foul play on the part of Sebastian's parents.
Is that moving to Memphis interfering at all with your investigation? Is it changing possibly
Hey, Jason.
the avenues of communication?
No, sir.
You mentioned when you were asked about recent evidence, we heard some rumors that there seemed to have some validity, that there were glasses found within the past few days. Can you confirm that?
There were some glasses found in the past few days.
Or have you been able to identify that they were Sebastian?
We are still investigating.
And on the Cajun Navy, have you found how is that coordination happening? Have you found their work helpful? Are you guys working in unison or a separate team?
The Cajun Navy is operating independently. They have not reached out to us.
Have you found their investigation or their work helpful, or has it been one of the distractions that have been mentioned?
One of the things that I really appreciate they've done is print flyers and keep Sebastian's face out there. It's my hope that one day somebody sees something and calls in and this case breaks wide open and we find Sebastian.
You want me to break that back, Mr. Tomato Head? I'll take it back. Here, let's take it back because I agree with you. It is said very empathetically. We'll just go back.
Enforcement since day one of this investigation. There is no evidence to support foul play on the part of Sebastian's parents.
Is that moving to Memphis interfering at all with your investigation? Is it changing possibly the?
Let me go further. Sorry. We'll go back to that. I have no problem. You guys, if there's anything you want me, I'm trying to watch the chat. I'm on both screens, but tell me and I'll rewind it.
Going back, researching, checked out every case of a possible sighting, nothing confirmed, not a trace of Sebastian anywhere, nothing found. No footprints, no video, nothing.
Nothing that is taken us to locate Sebastian.
And are there any working theories?
We come up with theories almost daily and try and investigate and make sure that we're doing everything we can to find Sebastian.
Share any of those?
No, sir.
Two questions, if I may. Have you ruled out Sebastian's mom's and stepdad's involvement in this case? And as a follow-up, have you cleared their alibi?
I think the TBI said it best. They've been nothing but cooperative with law enforcement since day one of this investigation. There is no evidence to support foul play on the part of Sebastian's parents.
Is that moving to Memphis interfering at all with your investigation? Is it changing possibly the avenues of communication?
No, sir.
You mentioned when you were asked about recent evidence, we heard some rumors that there seemed to have some validity, that there were glasses found within the past few days. Can you confirm that?
There were some glasses found in the past few days.
Or have you been able to identify that they were Sebastian?
We are still investigating.
And on the Cajun Navy,
And that had been confirmed after the fact that they were not Sebastian's glasses.
have you found how is that coordination happening? Have you found their work helpful? Are you guys working in unison or a separate team?
The Cajun Navy is operating independently. They have not reached out to us.
Have you found their investigation or their work helpful, or has it been one of the distractions that have been mentioned?
One of the things that I really appreciate they've done is print flyers and keep Sebastian's face out there. It's my hope that one day somebody sees something and calls in and this case breaks wide open and we find Sebastian.
They've claimed they've received threats. To your knowledge, have they filed any police reports or reports to the sheriff's department documenting any of these alleged threats?
No, sir.
Are we able to learn anything about what those threats are?
They would have to call the police and report them.
Where does the search go from here? It's been 5 weeks. There's been no signs. Do you believe he's still alive? And what are you guys going to continue working on?
My hope and prayer is that Sebastian is still alive. Yes. We're going to continue to work on this investigation and follow up every tip and lead that comes in. Some of this may revert back to us going over some things that we've already done for the 6th, 7th, or 8th time. A fresh set of eyes never hurt anything. We're going to continue to work to find Sebastian.
Have the stories been changing at all as you've been talking with people, interviewing them for a second time possibly?
There is no evidence to support foul play.
Are there any active current leads that you guys are pursuing?
How many more times is he going to say that? There is no evidence to support foul play.
We have tips called in daily.
Any of those tips seem legitimate enough to expand law enforcement resources?
regardless of their legitimacy, we're going to follow up on them.
Following up on all of them.
Will there be any other agencies pulled in to help in the search efforts for this case?
Pay close attention to what he's about to say. He was asked, are there other agencies?
I'm certain there will be.
You met with the biological father and mother this past week. Is that at their request, your request? Is that just re-interviewing them again?
That was at the request of law enforcement.
The request of law enforcement. They sat down with them again. There's other agencies. People have known that. Law enforcement requested another sit down with the family. Again, this was in April. Nothing has changed that we know of.
It's not uncommon to talk to the family in investigations like this. I've got time for one more question.
Just overall, how has this investigation impacted the morale at your department, especially with all the scrutiny coming online?
Let me put it to you like this. If my kid was missing, this is the team I'd want on it. The men and women of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, the FBI partners, the other local agencies, the Secret Service.
Did you hear all the ones he listed? Should we back that up again so everybody can hear? Who's all been involved in this from all along?
Of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, the FBI partners, the other local agencies, the Secret Service. Everyone who's had a hand in this case is doing everything they can to find Sebastian. Morale's high. We are here and we are dedicated. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for keeping Sebastian in the public. Please continue to publicize this photo. Thank you all.
All right. So let's continue on. Let's go to the TBI website. Directly to the TBI website. Amber Alert status Sebastian Rogers. 8/26/2024. Today marks 6 months since Sebastian Rogers was reported missing from his Sumner County home. The Amber Alert remains active. TBI special agents from multiple units continue to assist the Sumner County Sheriff's Office in efforts to locate Sebastian. In addition to following up on leads and tips as they come in, agents continue to review and reevaluate all the information gathered to date. Today, the FBI Memphis Field Office Nashville resident agency announced the offer of a reward up to $50,000 for information leading to the location and return of Sebastian, or to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for his disappearance. Anyone with information concerning the whereabouts of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is encouraged to contact Sumner County Sheriff's Office 615-451-3838 or the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND, or tips to the TBI at tbi.tennessee.gov, or contact your local FBI office or the nearest American embassy or consulate, or submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov. Here's his missing persons flyer. Let's go back to the update from April. Remember, we're looking for Sumner County stated there's no proof of him leaving the home. Yes, this is the TBI website, but they're all working together. So maybe, just maybe, right? On 4/25, April 26 marks 2 months since Sebastian Rogers was reported missing from his Sumner County home. Since that time, TBI special agents from multiple units have been assisting the Sumner County Sheriff's Office in efforts to locate Sebastian. These efforts have included multiple large-scale searches on the ground, in the water, and from the air. The searches have included multiple local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies, including the FBI and the Secret Service. Residents in the area have also conducted searches on their own property in hopes of finding Sebastian or learning what may have happened to him. To date, there have been no confirmed sightings of Sebastian since the issuance of the alert. TBI special agents continue to review the information gathered since the investigation began, follow up on all leads or tips that come in, and work with counterparts from other law enforcement agencies to review strategies and consider options. The Amber Alert for Sebastian Rogers remains active. We continue to encourage anyone with information to call 1-800-TBI-FIND or send an email to tips to TBI at tbi.tn.gov. On the 3rd of April, TBI special agents are joining investigators with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and law enforcement agencies from surrounding counties to conduct another thorough search in the Long Hollow Pike area in reference to the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. While there has not been any additional information to indicate where Sebastian may be or may have been, trained search teams will again execute a ground search in the wooded and open areas around Sebastian's home and neighborhood. Additionally, we have been made aware that an altered version of the official TBI Amber Alert poster has been made and is being circulated throughout social media, indicating that this is a new poster has been verified. Please be aware that a lot of false information is being posted through multiple social media channels. The poster our agency has developed and is using is this below. This one here. We all know what that stemmed from. Not even going there because it's like Beetlejuice. On 3/22/2024, special agents and intelligence analysts continue to go over and review information that has been collected since the search for Sebastian began. They also continue to follow up on tips and leads as they come in. To date, more than 240 tips have been provided through tips to TBI at tbi.tn.gov, email, and the 1-800-TBI-FIND tip line. We still encourage residents who live within the search area to check their property, their outbuildings, under decks, inside boats or cars, anywhere a teen may be able to hide. If residents have property that has terrain that may include ledges, holes, or unstable footing and don't feel comfortable assessing it themselves, we can have someone with law enforcement do that for them. Much of the work being done to track down information about where Sebastian may have gone is not something you will necessarily see in the public, but we want you to know that every day work is being done to find Sebastian. Any information you may have about Sebastian, what he likes to do, where he likes to go, people he may know, it can help us. If it can help us find Sebastian, please let us know. All right, let's continue going back. This is the only facts beyond what they've said in press releases, just so everybody is aware to date. On February 26, 2024, 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his Sumner County home, leading to a large-scale ground search that resulted in first responders covering about 2,000 total miles in the effort to find him. There is his Amber Alert again. We continue to work with Sumner County Sheriff's Office and the FBI to both proactively pursue information that may be relevant to the search for Sebastian and to pursue any tips or pieces of information that come in. We have not forgotten about Sebastian. Much of the work currently being done to bring Sebastian home may not necessarily be public or visible, but agents, detectives, and intelligence analysts continue to work around the clock to review every bit of information available. Sebastian's family has remained cooperative since the search began and have done whatever law enforcement has asked of them. At this stage in the investigation, there are few clues to indicate what happened to Sebastian or where he may be. There is not proof at this time that there is any criminal element involved in his disappearance, but also there is not proof that there is not a criminal element involved. So agents and investigators are reviewing any possibility at all that may indicate where Sebastian is. In order to preserve the integrity of the investigation, we cannot discuss many of the specifics surrounding the case, but we know how many people care about Sebastian and what has been done, and it is still being done to bring him home. Also, we want to caution the public about putting too much stock into information being presented in various media forms that is inaccurate or incomplete and could be damaging to the investigation. We ask the public to help us by refraining from sharing speculation posted by or discussed by non-official sources and reporting only credible tips or information to 1-800-TBI-FIND. Information that has been released by the TBI and or Sumner County Sheriff's Office throughout the investigation, including a list of frequently asked questions, can be reviewed below. What areas have been searched? Within the first several days of the search, more than 2,000 miles were searched on foot. Many of these areas were initially searched and searched again. Law enforcement officers have searched the neighborhoods, surrounding neighborhoods, schools, and many other areas of the county by foot. Bloodhounds and handlers have searched the same areas. There have been aerial searches with helicopter drones and a fixed-wing plane. These aerial searches have been conducted on multiple days and multiple nights, using thermal imaging technology. Sebastian's residence, the yard, the house, the vehicles have all been searched multiple times. The neighborhood where Sebastian lives has been canvassed. Neighbors' houses have been searched. Sebastian is autistic and his family says he is drawn to water. Pools in the neighborhood were searched. Dive teams were brought in and bodies of water around the neighborhood and beyond that area were searched, including caves. What about the technology aspect? Have you collected security video from area homes and businesses? Have cell phones been checked? Everybody still with me? We're going to find this, right? Many neighbors and businesses have provided video from home and business surveillance systems. We are grateful for that cooperation. The video has been collected and from the beginning of the investigation has been analyzed and enhanced where possible by tech experts with the TBI, FBI, and Secret Service. To date, nothing gathered from these video systems has been determined to be significant. We do caution that some surveillance video being shared in the public may have been misinterpreted or misidentified or not shown in its entirety. It has been determined that it does not hold any evidentiary significance to the investigation. Numerous search warrants have been executed. Cell phone data has been analyzed, and all other available digital evidence has been collected, searched, and documented. Information was collected from Sebastian's gaming system and has been analyzed. With help from the FBI, vehicles that were placed in the area at or around the time of Sebastian's disappearance have been accounted for. These videos and all the electronic evidence that has already been reviewed is often also being reinvestigated. What's going on now in the investigation? What's next? The answer for Sebastian has not, or the search for Sebastian has not stopped. Every day, tips and leads are investigated. People are being interviewed and re-interviewed. Evidence that has been reviewed once already is being gone over again. We continue to ask residents in the area of the search to keep an eye on your property to see if anything may have been moved or displaced. Is this a place where a child could have hidden? If you have property that has ledges or holes that a teenager might find interesting and you can't search it yourself, please contact the tip line and we will have someone check it out for you. If you know Sebastian and have information about him, what he likes, how he acts, that you think could be relevant, let us know. We know that many people are so invested in getting Sebastian home. We will update this information as there may be any developments. Please use the tip line at 1-800-TBI-FIND to provide any relevant information you may have, or you can send it to tips2TBI@tbi.tn.gov. Please do not send tips to our social media pages. Finally, we are extremely grateful to so many members of the Sumner County community for their time, attention, and prayers being offered to help find Sebastian. The members of multiple law enforcement communities, emergency management personnel, wildlife organizations, and so many other groups, along with the very generous businesses and individuals who have provided well wishes for Sebastian, along with food, water, and other comforts to searchers. All these contributions are so greatly appreciated. Thank you. And there is Sebastian. Photos of Sebastian. So that is the TBI. Now let's go to the one that Mr. Tomato Head was talking about. Let's go over here. And again, what we are looking for is Sumner County saying that there's no proof that Sebastian left the home. So just in that TBI update, there's so many things that are debunked, such as the home not being searched, the vehicles not being searched, all of that. We know that that has all been done. We know that 2,000 miles has collectively have been searched. We know that they not only searched initially, but they reamped and did again in April. All of this is so important. But let's look at this one.
There's been an exhaustive search for Sebastian Rogers, but with few updates from authorities in recent weeks, some have wondered, is enough being done?
We're doing everything we can do. Every time a tip comes in, we follow up on it.
Eric Craddock.
Hey, Terry. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
Is chief deputy with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and heads up the investigation. He sat down for an exclusive one-on-one to talk about what they do when there are few new leads.
I think in the absence of information, what we'll continue to do is go back over everything we've already done once, put a fresh set of eyes on it.
To that end, Craddock says searchers recently found a pair of glasses, which they are checking to see if they belong to Sebastian. He says the parents continue to fully cooperate. Any evidence of foul play?
We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
I asked about exclusive home security video obtained from the neighborhood the night Sebastian disappeared. You can see two suspicious light sources, which we've circled here, in an area behind the teen's home. Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Wait. Did you hear that again? Not only is it said on the TBI website, but Eric Craddock from Sumner County says it again. Hey, mystery. Thank you, Josh. It's just if people would actually go back to the facts, all of these reignited rumors and things that they're trying to kick off have already been dispelled. And they're trying so hard to distract, deflect, cause chaos, and intentionally do that, in my opinion. What for? We're going to talk about that in the upcoming live. I think we're going to have some questions that also arise from that, which is fine. But why are they saying things were said as fact and not able to back them up? I want to play this once more so you guys can hear that again.
No evidentiary value?
It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
Law enforcement does. They can lie, but here's the problem with this. Law enforcement can lie to suspects, right? They can lie in interviews when they're trying to catch somebody up. They're not going to lie publicly when they're trying to find a missing teen. That is my opinion, but I'm going to stand on that. When they are asking the public for help to find a 15-year-old missing child, they are not going to intentionally mislead the public with false information, in my opinion, because it causes chaos and people stop looking. They want to bring Sebastian home. So in my opinion, once again, they're not going to be misleading. They're not going to tell people certain things that they're keeping close to the vest. They owe us nothing. But they don't have to tell us what it is. But he's saying at this point in time, it's yeah. I know what you're saying, girl next door. That's instantly law enforcement lies. That's the instant deflection of any of this stuff. They have no benefit, in my opinion, about lying about any of this stuff to the public when they're asking the public's help to find Sebastian. That would be very crooked. Now, in investigation into horrific tragedies and things like that, they can use those tactics, absolutely. But in this, I don't see that happening. Agree with you. They use that all the time, though.
And so it could play a role down the road depending on developments?
We don't know what we don't know. So yes, it could play a role.
So many are, of course, closely following this case. How difficult has it been, all the noise on social media?
Oh, the rumor mill on social media has done nothing to advance this case.
The rumor mill on social media has done nothing to advance this case. I mean, we are all very well aware of that. But here we are again. He said that they've said that numerous times. It's on their website.
Craddock says investigators continue to work the case daily and deal not with feelings, but facts and evidence.
There's no stone left unturned.
Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
All right. So I want to go back to this once again, just to remind people of what we're asking. What we're asking for here. It's not that hard. They will have this handy, I'm sure. This right here is what Tony said 2 nights ago on Josh or the Labs channel.
For Chris and what he claims to be his alibi. So, like we said on Vinny's show last night, one thing we can all agree on, because it came directly from Sumner County, is that there is no proof that Sebastian ever left that home. So you're a critical thinker. How does that happen? How is there no proof he left the home? How is there no scent from the dogs that picked a barefooted child up leaving that home. Well, I can only think of one or two ways that could happen. And, I can think of a child leaving in a vehicle would keep there from being any scent or proof that he left the home. Not a whole lot of other ways I can think of that would happen, but we all do know that Sumner County has said that there is no proof that he left the home. So when they talk about people of interest, if this were
We all do know. I'm sorry, Tony Mathis, but I, for one, don't know that because I've never heard Sumner County say that, and I can't find it anywhere. Baby Bob, thank you so much. Baby Bob says, good morning, Becky, Chico, mods, and chat of the best damn channel on YouTube. In my opinion, I enjoy and appreciate the way all aspects are being discussed. Thank you for the support, and thank you for being here. Thank you a lot. It's really confusing because they obviously have motive and intent for the reason that they're drudging up all this stuff again. But if you're going to say something over and over again, and this is something we've reheard, they've rehearsed this and repeated it and rehashed it numerous times, and we're getting nowhere with it. I just don't understand why. And I'm hopeful that one of them can point me right in the direction of this statement from Sumner County. Okay. Wolfie, perfect. I gotcha. Okay, let's go back to Beddy and close it out with Beddy. See what else Beddy had to say. And then we will be done with this one and we will move back into another part. So again, if you're part of Seth and Tony's team, Beddy, BJ, Spanky, the lab, I'm positive one of you will have this clip handy, a timestamp, a source, the date it was said, exactly where Sumner County said this. Tony is sure. He said, we have all heard it. Put a 1 in the chat if you've heard this. Put a 2 in the chat if you have not. 1 if you have, 2 if you have not. And if you're putting a 1, I better see a timestamp or where it came from. Arctic, thank you so much for being a member for 5 months. You are so appreciated. Y'all, please make sure. Arctic, will you drop your channel link, please, in here? Or one of the mods, will you drop Arctic and Duchess and all of you guys drop your Chico, you guys drop your links, please. 4, Wolfie. There's mystery. Where did you hear it? Can you tell me? Where did you hear it said? Yeah, Mr. Tomato Head, right? That would be common sense. Obviously, he's not in the home. Hold on. On Savage, did she play a clip, Mystery, of it being said by Sumner County? On Savages today? Was it a clip from Sumner County? Sorry, I'm going to pay attention to the chat for a minute so I can see what Mystery's saying. Oh, you just heard them repeat that. Okay. Thank you all for dropping your guys' links. You guys sub up to these people in the chat. There are some amazing people in here. Was it just repeated Mystery on that channel? Because Tony is, let me go back here. This is why we're asking this, because this is a problem. They continue to repeat this, that this is fact. And nobody can find where this was said by Sumner County. Let me go back over here. This is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for anybody but Sumner County, the clip of Sumner County saying this.
So you're a critical thinker. How does that happen? How is there no proof he left the home? How is there no scent from the dogs that picked a barefooted child up, leaving that home? Well, I can only think of 1 or 2 ways.
Baby Bop, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I hope you have a wonderful day. And anybody that's a praying type, please keep Baby Bop in your prayers. I will be sending lots of positive energy in your way. You got it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here and thank you for the support.
That could happen. And, I can think of a child leaving in a vehicle would keep there from being any scent or proof that he left the home. Not a whole lot of other ways I can think of that would happen, but we all do know that Sumner County has said that there is no proof that he left the home. So when they talk about people of interest, if this were a husband and wife and your wife went missing and you were at home with her when she went missing, who would the first person of interest be? Let's take the child out of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that the person that was in charge of him, with him last, whether that be a babysitter, a friend, an uncle, an aunt, a mom, dad, grandma, grandpa.
Can you imagine what would have happened if he'd have been at home with a babysitter when he went missing?
No, no.
I mean, did I not go back far enough that time? Hold on. Let's listen to that.
I'll agree on, because it came directly from Sumner County, is that there is no proof that Sebastian ever left that home. So you're a critical thinker. How does that happen? How is there no proof he left the home? How is there no scent from the dogs that picked a barefooted child up leaving that home?
Again, please go check out Jessica Danielle for the full dispatch audio in the first few hours. She did a great job on that.
Well, I can only think of one or two ways that could happen. And, I can think of a child leaving in a vehicle would keep there from being any scent or proof that he left the home. Not a whole lot of other ways I can think of that would happen. But we all do know that Sumner County has said that there is no proof that he left the home. So when they talk about people of interest, if this were a husband and wife and your wife went missing and you were at home with her when she went missing, who would the first person of interest be? Let's take the child out of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that the person that was in charge of him, with him last, whether that be a babysitter, a friend, an uncle, an aunt, a mom, dad, grandma, grandpa.
Can you imagine?
If you want to watch the rest of that, that's on the labs from 2 nights ago. I am super confused by that because, again, they're saying, Duchess, thank you for the gifted memberships. I hope everything went well today. Let's go back to Beddy, though. Let's go. I'm going to close out some of these tabs because I got 1,000,001 of them open. You can also go to the Web Sleuths interview that I pulled up a little while ago and see what was actually said there. I mean, there's just so much. And it started with him saying this. I mean, I can take you back to this really quick, too. We can just do a quick little recap of what everybody or what was all said in this live stream. So nobody's confused about why we're asking what we're asking. But this has been something that has been repeatedly said over the last few days. Okay, this is from Court TV the night before they went on the lab.
Yesterday in court with Bullhorn Beddy. And what are your thoughts about Bullhorn Beddy and what she's been doing?
Well, Vinny, first off, thank you for having us tonight. Let me be crystal clear about something. That entire family lied under oath to get those protective orders. This family has spent more time trying to silence people than they've spent looking for Sebastian. We know for a fact that there's no proof that Sebastian walked out of that home. And it makes you wonder what else they're lying about, Vinny. It also makes you wonder what would happen if Sebastian would have been able to file a protective order against his stepfather.
Seth, your reaction to what happened and what is happening in all of this?
Galactic, we can go there in just a moment.
My professional opinion, I would say something along the lines of Chris and Katie did something to my son. They're using Sumner County to cover it up and to hide themselves from the actual law.
And let me ask you, Seth, and we have no independent information. We know that police are saying there's no suspect. No one's been named as a suspect in any of this. But this seems to be, at least from my perspective, Seth, is it a change in the way you are seeing what has transpired through all this? Are you seeing things differently than you did before?
It's the evidence. I still believe my son is alive. I still believe he's somewhere. But the fact is that he was at their house last. There is no evidence that he ever left the house. And they, as Tony.
Baby Bop instead of baby boop. I do that all the time. To be crystal clear, thank you for the support again. You're just going to be called BB over here from now on. BB with the birthday. The birthday, BB. Y'all know me and I barely pay attention, and then I like glance. Boop, bop. Just bop me on the head. Sorry about that. I gotcha.
As stated, they have spent more money and time trying to get people to not speak about Sebastian than speaking about Sebastian.
Factually, that's not correct. I went through that in the beginning. Seth filed 6 C&Ds trying to get people to silence on his end in the very beginning with an attorney. Supposedly, they paid an attorney to send out all those 6 indices. Chris and Katie filed 1 free. Again, if you're the victim, it doesn't cost you anything to file a restraining order. Eventually, yes, they did hire an attorney. However, Beddy is responsible for the court fees and the attorney costs because she has now been restrained from stalking and harassing the family. So that doesn't land either.
Sumner County hasn't come out since April with anything, and Katie won't come out and speak, won't ask for help to find Sebastian. I really have to say that she never loved her son.
And I'm going to leave it at that because, well, y'all know that that's just factually, you can have your opinions on that. We have no indication that she didn't love her son. That is cruel and unusual to say. Let's go back to Beddy from this morning and we'll wrap it up here because like I said, I want to do a second live today on another aspect of things that are being said and kind of twisted around. And I want to pull some attention to that. But what we are, Galactic. Thank you for reminding me that. Let me talk about that with Nick Barris. So that was the first place I went because Nick Barris is the one that's had, in my opinion, the most direct communication as far as media with Sumner County. So I went to Nick Barris's page on Facebook today. And here's a couple of the other interviews. I will play these right quick for you since I have them on my phone. Because I was thinking maybe Nick said it too.
News conf, a lot of effort being put into trying to find him. Not a lot of new developments. We have not had a news conference from authorities in several days. They do send out updates, but nothing new to really report. But today were some new developments that I think are worth talking about. And what I'm going to tell you is I learned early this morning that authorities were planning to go and search a landfill about.
This is from the Nashville 5 News channel on TikTok.
An hour and a half drive north of Sumner County in Kentucky. Okay. You're like, okay, why?
So this is also going to talk about the landfill search that has got misconstrued.
They going up there? Why are they going to a landfill in Kentucky to look for this missing 15-year-old who has autism? And it's an interesting story behind how that worked out. But let me tell you that the search, when it first initially went down, was extremely thorough. They, over the last, in my opinion, 11 days, have done a terrific job, everyone involved, of searching within a 5 to 10 mile radius of the home, everything they can with dogs on foot from the air, have found nothing. A trace of Sebastian is nowhere to be found. So in the absence of finding anything, okay, in that search, they're thinking, what haven't we seen? And they noticed that there was no garbage in the neighborhood, or that the garbage had been picked up. And here's what's interesting, okay? I found out this morning they were going out to the dump. And so my first question is why? Well, they're going out there to look through the garbage taken from this neighborhood. And I'm like, okay, well, when is the garbage picked up? Well, I called a neighbor there whom I know that I've met since I've been covering this story. And I said, hey, do you guys have a garbage pickup service? And they go, yes. And I go, when do they pick up the garbage? And they tell me between 5 and 6 o'clock. And I'm like, what day? Monday. What time of day? 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. So put this into context and what we know about the timetable. Sebastian's mother said that she went to try to wake him up. I guess it was around 6 o'clock is what she said in the past, to get ready for school. And that's when she discovered.
Michael, you guys are all in my brain today. That's the next live stream. We will be talking about T-Rev. And we will be taking it back a step on some things that were previously stated over there. Okay. You guys are right up. I love that you guys are like right in my brain waves today, though. I appreciate it. That's scary. Scary for all of you. We might need a padded room, a Velcro wall with a Velcro suit by the end of it, but we got this.
He was not there. At which point they then call law enforcement, at which point law enforcement comes out there, starts asking questions, starts looking around, maybe just
Wolfie, I'll look at it in a second. I'm playing a thing off my phone. Hold on.
down the road. This is early on before they know, how serious this is. And by then, the garbage was long gone. The garbage was picked up and gone before Sebastian was even reported missing. Okay. Now, that unto itself doesn't really mean anything, but
Galactic, I'm not sure when you came in, but I pulled 2 of the sit-down interviews with Craddock and Barris. And both of them, neither one have in there that there is no proof of him leaving the home. We looked at 2 of those sit-down interviews, but I have more.
all the garbage, including the garbage from Sebastian's house, was picked up. But it's not just there. I'm not just saying this is about Sebastian's house. This is garbage in dumpsters in some nearby developments and homes that are being built. It's garbage in other garbage bins at nearby homes. We don't know exactly what happened to him, but they'd like to sift through that garbage. They would look through these bins and see whether or not there's any evidence of something that might be there. I have to.
Steph, I'm going to try to get there too. There's just so much, and where they're amping up right now, it's so hard to get backwards. But I want to go back to the initial timeline in the first initial days and show everybody how these people flip-flopped in the team and stuff. I do. That is on the horizon. I just got to have time to do it. I could do this all day long and pull you all different clips from all different angles. I just don't have enough time or energy. These people are energy vampires.
Hey, it goes without saying, they probably want to take a look at the garbage that was thrown out from Sebastian's own home. Okay? They're going to be looking for that. So what I can tell you is they went out to this dump, which is in White Plains, Kentucky, about an hour and a half from here. It's a company that, takes some of the garbage from here. Keep in mind now, okay, we had Sky 5 video, if you watched our newscast, look at it later, that showed this crew out there at a landfill. If you ever been to a landfill.
Very possible. Yeah. He's going to explain what he thinks, they're kind of the standard procedures with this. Hey, Tammy.
That is a place to dispose of anything. And if time passes, it's buried and extremely difficult to find. The debris that was taken in garbage from this neighborhood was Monday. So you got Monday's trash, Tuesday, other debris coming from all around. This is just Mondays for this one subdivision. But I mean, trash is coming in continually. So you have Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, trash. So 3 full days of trash in and out.
It's not from the T-Rev angle stuff. That's T-Rev is a factor, but it's opening up another angle of it. You I can't make it make sense until we get there.
Piled up there. I understand that typically dumps work on a grid system, so they are able to kind of identify if you ask, hey, where did Monday's trucks out of Sumner County go with the trash? And they can vaguely say in this area, but a lot of trash just goes into that area and you have to dig through it. And there's a lot of smells. It's a dirty business. It's rough. So they were out there today, and from Sky 5, you could see there was a large tarp set up, and then there was a large law enforcement presence. I understand sheriff's deputies from Sumner County and Kentucky State Police were participating in this. I'm also told through someone who works up there at this landfill that they completely cordoned off that one section of the landfill once they got notice of this yesterday and have not put any more trash in there. And they spent all day looking.
Did you see the interview?
Okay, so that was one of them. That was in regards to the trash.
Bracelet right.
Here's another one.
Bracelet right here. It says Sebastian's Army, and members of Sebastian's Army back here behind me are outside the sheriff's office today, reminding everyone that it was 6 months ago
that Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his home in Hendersonville. The FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for any information that leads to the missing 15-year-old with autism. I hope that's the catalyst to make something move. To date, they found no trace of the teen. Yes, it's possible Sebastian wandered off on his own, but the FBI reward money concedes the very real possibility of foul play. Now, remember, investigators have never named any suspects. Still, after 6 months with no good leads, everyone wonders how a child alone could vanish without a trace. So the hope is someone out there knows something and calls in the key tip to 1-800-TBI-FIND and helps solve the mystery of what happened to Sebastian Rogers.
So I took it another step further. And Michael, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the cabana. So I took it a step further and I went through Nick's posts that he had made detailing some of this. Again, he has communication with Sumner County, but Tony is saying that it came directly from Sumner County, that we all know that Sumner County said that there's not proof, which nobody's found yet. So I went through and read some of his posts. On September, I'm going to go back just a couple and read you a couple of them. You can go look at all of this stuff on Nick Barris NC5 on Facebook. They post a lot of this stuff on YouTube, anything in video format, but his actual posts where it's verbiage are on Facebook. Okay, this one is from September 4th. The latest on the Sebastian Rogers case. It's now been more than 6 months since the 15-year-old Sebastian disappeared from his Hendersonville, Tennessee home. The Amber Alert investigation remains active. Several of you have messaged me asking a couple of questions. I'll do my best to answer. First, some have asked if the reward for information in the case has increased. We know the FBI has posted a $50,000 reward, and there is talk that another private individual is offering an additional $25,000. I've reached out to that person, but have not heard back, so I cannot confirm. Hopefully it's true. The larger the reward, the better chance someone who knows something may come forward. I have heard that money is being raised to help put up Sebastian missing billboards across the country. Second, some have asked if the TBI, the FBI, or Sumner County Sheriff's Office have cleared the Proudfoots, Sebastian's mother and stepfather, in the case. This may stem from something that was written in a court document. This is when that all happened. Oh, I'm going to have to go in. Hold on. We got to move. They got the power tools out now. They got the power tools out. We got to bump back inside. Hold on. My hands are full. I'll finish reading this just a second. Let me scoot out of my booty right over here. Okay. It says, so this is that intentional leaked part where they started kicking that up and saying that, somebody was trying to release that. Why Chris was asking people to have that removed. It definitely, in my opinion, wasn't released from Chris's side, but this is what he had to say in reference to that. This may stem from something that was written in a court document. I do not know the exact context, but I can tell you what I've been telling you all along. No one has been cleared in this case as authorities consider any and all possibilities, knowing new evidence could surface at any time. That being said, there are no suspects in the case. There is a big difference between not being cleared and being named a suspect. I check in weekly with sheriff's investigators, the EMA director, district attorney Ray Whitley, and the TBI. They tell me that Chris and Katie Proudfoot and Sebastian's biological father, Seth, are not suspects. Run, Becky, run. Thank you for the support. They've been questioned, their stories have been vetted, and there is absolutely no evidence at this time linking any of them to Sebastian's disappearance. Again, that was September 4th from Nick Barris. Let me see what else was said here. And there is absolutely no evidence at this time linking any of them to Sebastian's disappearance. None. I know that many have their suspicions. That's fine. But suspicions mean nothing without evidence. DA Whitley is ready and willing to prosecute anyone once evidence links someone to what happened to Sebastian. But for now, such evidence simply does not exist. Hopefully, the reward money will help lead to tips that break the case. Call 1-800-TBI-FIND, share. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting text messages for my other little job that I need to do too. I gotta go in and fix that stuff on a website. Oh, my brain's gonna be frazzled. All right. So you can go back through Nick's posts and videos, but I did go back quite a ways, and I cannot find anything such as what Tony is saying, that Sumner County themselves have said that there's no proof of him leaving the house. I can't find it. But again, I am highly encouraged because I know the team wouldn't come out here and say something without having proof of exactly where to go. Tony being part of the team, you know, big part of the team, Seth himself, Beddy. I know that one of them is going to be able to point us directly to where Sumner County said this. So that's why I'm asking this publicly. Where is this? Can you please let us know it? Oh yeah, there's a deleted post too. That was about Beddy. And then he revised that and put it up. Yep, I've got those two, Mr. Tomato Head, back in my little vault of stuff. But anyways, what we're looking for is where Sumner County themselves have said, like Tony said, that we all know that they said this. Well, let's finish off this with just a couple minutes more of Beddy, and then I'm going to close this one down, and we will come back and after a while and talk about the rest of what is going on in my head.
For Sebastian,
Which is probably really scary to hear it said that way. You guys probably don't want to know what goes on in my head.
Wayne Drake Rogers, and we're going to do the cutoff for the photos for green lights. I need to get working on the video. It's just now with this hurricane and internet issues and all this other stuff, it's going to take it.
We left off previously in this live stream. We had reviewed a little bit of Beddy doing, this is from today, just in case you're coming in late. We left off with Beddy saying that they have distracted them from lighting it up green. Somehow everybody is the cause of them being distracted from lighting it up green. That's what she's talking about right here.
It's going to be hard. I got to wait until we get at least some internet back up before I start preparing that video. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. Hey, Dwight, it's nice to see you, my love. I hope you're doing well.
The title of this video is Sebastian Rogers is still missing and his father, Seth Rogers, needs him. Tennessee.
Did the other two make it impossible for Seth to have Sebastian that weekend? Well, I'm a little concerned here. I mean, we did just hear, I still have to watch it, but you guys, my beautiful audience, have sent me some emails related to Silver on the Scene and his findings of information. And I got to say that's a little concerning because now, if that is true, Terry Lynn might be onto something, you know, with that whole Thursday night poker game. Because we have to look at, because at the time there was nothing corroborating that, and she has said some really bogus stuff. And every time I try to fax.
By the way, Beddy previously came out and said that she could not vet any of that poker game. There was nothing that vetted any of that Katie and Sebastian were ever at this poker game. And from what we know, all of their stories have been vetted by law enforcement. This was another fabricated thing from Terry Lynn about this poker party. They even attempted at one point in time to say Chris was at this poker party. There's been no fact basis behind it. They've not been able to make that hold any water.
Fact check it.
Another Swiss cheese for them.
I ended up debunking it versus fact checking it.
Oh, she did.
So this whole poker game, it's making me scratch my head a little bit. And I do believe Silver on the Scene. I know how hard he works. He doesn't have any dog in the fight, much like me, other than wanting to bring this boy home safely, and in our minds knowing that we have an uphill battle doing that, and having to fight our government to get out there and look for this boy. You know, could they be waiting for forensics? You know, could law enforcement? Yeah, it's a possibility they could be waiting for forensics. But when I had spoken and when other neighbors had reached out to me, they had cleared them. But you know, the last time we talked to any neighbors was what, April? Wasn't it in April, I think, is when I got all this information in the email. I'll have to go back and check. But I specifically asked several of them, you know, there's a very specific process that's used whenever you do forensics. If it's done, I don't really know why or how they would do it at night, because they've got to have all these lights and spray chemicals and all this other stuff. But it comes back to the house cleaning. You know, maybe that was the catalyst for the house cleaning, because I can tell you when forensics are done, you've got to have professional cleaners come in, because they use all kinds of chemicals. They use Amido Black. They use a Blue Star, which is kind of the new, like the luminol. There's a lot of chemicals that they use that aren't really good. That's why they wear those suits when they do them. They're very toxic chemicals, and you should not come into contact with those chemicals. And just like any law enforcement body, they're in there to do the forensics. They don't clean up the forensics. You know what I'm saying? So somebody would have to go in there and clean that. So I wonder if that was the catalyst for the cleaning. I'm unsure because I've never been able to corroborate whether that cleaning ever took place or not. And nor do I really care, other than I just wanted to confirm whether forensics has been done in the house or not. When I spoke to Seth, I asked him the same questions.
I mean, Nick Barris again. Nick Barris confirmed that forensics has been done on the house, and the TBI said that, the home and the vehicles and everything have been numerous times searched, basically. So between Nick Barris and the TBIs, you're going to have to come. We don't know exactly what all was done, but Nick has confirmed that forensics were done in the home. Again, I'm going to direct you to his Facebook page. You will find all of that information. He is confirmed by his contacts with TBI and Sumner County.
Said there had been no forensics done in his house. And I would think that, that really upsets me because his house would still be part of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children Directive. This child had 2 bedrooms. Both of those bedrooms should have been processed. And I know for a fact that Seth's house has not been processed. So I have to assume if his house hasn't been processed, none of the other stuff has been processed forensically because the directive is clear.
So according to what we also know is that detectives, I don't know which agency they were with, followed Seth home the night that Sebastian went missing and gathered up his things that they found were necessary at the point in time. He also claimed that they went through and searched Sebastian's room. If you remember back to him saying that they left it a mess, yada, yada, that he had to clean it up and put things back to where Sebastian had them. Again, his words. I don't know where this is all being twisted and turned, but they did obviously go there and search. I'm assuming if there was any need for forensics to have been done, they would have done it or gotten a search warrant to go back in and do it. I'm not sure why they're going back down this route again. They're rehashing things that have already been confirmed and debunked.
And I say it again, and I'll say it loud and proud. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, they have a directive to dealing with missing children, runaway children. And they are very clear in that directive that child.
This is another thing she's tried to say over and over again, that they didn't follow that directive. Meanwhile, and by the way, that's a Diet Coke. I mean, even if it wasn't a Diet Coke, it's none of your fucking business, but it's a Diet Coke. She has tried to do this over and over again. We've heard repeatedly how extensive the search was, how extensive the response was. There was law enforcement up and down. They were all over the house, the neighbors. I mean, we've heard everything that's been done, but she still wants, they have nothing. So they're just grabbing onto anything to make something into something out of nothing. That's exactly what they're doing here, in my opinion. And I think we might have some motives behind, well, I know there's motives behind this, but
child's room, or in this case, rooms, should be treated as crime scenes. And we know for a fact because, Seth told me. I asked him point blank, was your house ever forensically tested? Was his bedroom ever forensically tested? And he said, no. Have a good day, Mona.
Again, according to law enforcement, all of their stories have been vetted and all the parents have been cooperative. That would be including Seth. So I'm not sure. Again, he has not been named as a suspect. I don't know what this weird posturing thing here is.
IMT Summer is in the house. Why Seth's house? He didn't disappear from it. Doesn't matter because you got to think at the beginning of this case, nobody knew anything. Okay. We just recently got a hold of, within the last 2 or 3 months, we got the polygraph from Nancy Grace. We've got the records from Davison County for his time and stuff like that. So at the time we didn't know. You got to remember this was
things that are irrelevant to us. I mean, law enforcement is going to be investigating where Seth was he at work? Again, I go back to, they claimed that all of their stories had been vetted. So why would we think that they weren't? If we're going to give Chris the benefit of the doubt that his alibi sticks, that he was at work in Memphis, we're going to do the same with Seth. That, in my opinion, was kicked off to try and paint a narrative again. Other people were questioning it and going way too far into it. The back and forth with the sides thing. People don't want to stick to reality and the facts here. They want to kick up all these bullshit rumors and speculation. And then they come out swinging with, well, here's the time cards. And then it opens up more questions and confusion. It's content farming. It's what a lot of these people intentionally do.
You know, on February 26th, what were they doing? On February 26th, when nobody knew what, you know, other than this child disappeared or walked out of his home or ran away or whatever the story may be, they have a clear directive that they must follow. We didn't know these people. I didn't know Seth. I had to do a lot of fact finding before I was.
We know that you didn't know Seth. You weren't even brought in as a member of the team until you had reached out to Tony. And it was because of the JLR stuff and you were posturing against JLR. And Tony and JLR were having their little fits and you had been booted out of the Facebook group. We know the timeline, Beddy. And then you got brought in, you did an exclusive interview with Seth and Tony, and they were able to run your show the way they wanted the narrative to be pushed. And then you were brought in as a team member. We know, we get it. Land the fucking plane.
It's pro Seth, okay? But the facts are the facts. The leads lead where they lead. I don't make them up and make them lead where they lead. They just lead where they lead. And so Seth was still
I mean, that's factually incorrect. You make things up all the time. We've been watching you guys do it, but okay, carry on.
Parent with a room for his son in his home. And on February 26th, at the end of the day, the directive is very clear. Turn the child's bedroom into a crime scene. He's got two. Both of those bedrooms should have been turned into a crime scene. Both of those homes should have been forensically tested. Both of them. Not just one, both. So, you know, at the end of the day, when this was all going on, we didn't know who to trust, right? We knew something didn't sound right. That's all we knew. All we wanted to do was find this boy. And then by the time, I think it was by March 20th, we were done. It was almost 30 days. We had enough interviews. We had enough information from law enforcement. We had a list of questions that weren't being answered. So we decided to go to the interviews and start putting down all the key facts in those interviews from both Seth as well as the other side. And we started going right down the list to fact check every single one of those facts. And it was very clear on its face that some things weren't looking right. Oh, Billy B, thank you. I wish I had a twisty chair now so I could twist. Welcome. Angela Hudson. Nice for you to be here. Thank you so much. We'll go through all of these in just a second because it's hard. I'm out in the sun. I thought I could see with this, but this camera's so far away from me. It's hard to read even with the small print. And if I'm not looking at through the bifocal, I definitely can't see anything.
All right. And that's not true once again, because they didn't go through the interview and find facts or anything. She wasn't concerned about that. She's purposely avoided the interviews that Seth has done, the things that have came out of Seth's mouth. She actually got really defensive and really pissed off. They're trying to say that these facts, again, a lot of the stuff that we have heard on social media after Sebastian went missing are irrelevant details that were added after. Law enforcement is the investigative agency in this. They're the ones that are doing the interviews. People have tried to twist and turn and fit anything that they've said into facts of the story. If you want the actual facts and where the facts stand today, you go to the TBI website. That's the only facts that we've known. Truthfully, in this case, yes, you can take the parents at their words, but they have been trying to point out these red flags, which are, you can point out if somebody was going through their worst time, they're going to have an emotional response and people are going to say things, do things that might be abnormal. That doesn't mean it's a freaking red flag, but they've been doing that too. But Beddy had no interest. Let me be honest here again. Beddy had no interest in even going back through the interviews until some of us started making timelines and calendars of things that were pushing back on her and her narratives and her theories and the bullshit she was running with from the mysterious group, the mysterious disappearance, JLR's group on Facebook. But there's that. As far as this, the question I pinned on the screen, I think Seth, or the comment on the screen, I thought about this too. And I'm going to butcher pronouncing your name too. So yeah, you guys in these names, can we just have A, B, C, D? I'm just joking. A beautiful name, but I'm going to butcher it. It says, I think Seth is the one that said Ellie told him that they have no proof he left his home. I think maybe I heard it on Pascal from Seth, but I definitely could be wrong. Not sure if this would be helpful. I thought about that too, but this is where I end up. Seth potentially did say that law enforcement told him something. However, we have no idea what that communication is because Tony came out on TikTok and told us that law enforcement had asked Seth to do things in the beginning of this to build trust. He refused to do those things. So his relationship with law enforcement was a little bit tarnished, in my opinion, from Seth's or Tony's words on TikTok. Again, I've reviewed that before. Secondly, the reason why I have a problem with this is because he has gone back and forth with, he's not working with Sumner County. They're not telling him anything to, they talk to him daily. It's been so up and down again, that yo-yo effect of, we don't really know what's happening. But Tony specifically states that we all know that Sumner County said this, that Sumner County said this. So I'm looking, because where he's saying it wasn't Seth that said this, it was Sumner County that said this. We should be able to find the source of Sumner County saying this. That's Tony's words. He didn't say Sumner County told Seth this. He said, we all know. And that's why, but I thought I was on that same level of thinking too, that maybe Seth was the one that said it and dropped it in an interview, which is likely, but we have no idea. And you're right. You're exactly right. We have no clue. I agree. Ellie didn't say exactly. Yep. That's what I think. You're right. Is it Akira? I agree with you 100% on that. I thought that was maybe what they were going to try to do. But no matter what, at the end of the day, they better be able to back this up right here, right freaking here. This is all until I hear proof right here, I'm going back here. This is all I want to hear.
Dogs that picked a barefooted child up, leaving that home. Well, I can only think of one or two ways that could happen. And, I can think of a child leaving in a vehicle.
Hey, I got something right.
Would keep there from being any scent or proof that he left the home. Not a whole lot of other ways I can think of that would happen. But we all do know that Sumner County has said that there is no proof that he left the home. So when they talk about people of interest,
see right there, that's the part that I'm like, nope. And I'm going to be a stickler on it, because proofs matter, or facts matter. And he's saying that Sumner County said this. He's repeated it in court TV. Seth has said it. Beddy has alluded to it. Other team members of theirs have used this as a force of their misinformation. It's been a constant. And it goes back to the power of suggestion. If they tell you over and over again that this has happened, people start believing it. And people start saying, yeah, I heard it. Yeah, I saw it. We probably did hear it from one of the team members. But did it actually come from Sumner County? And can they prove that it came from Sumner County? That's where they're going to get caught up. Because I'm positive they're so smart and so thought out and know exactly what they're talking about. They're going to be able to point us right in the direction, the timestamp, the date, everywhere that Sumner County said this. I know that they're going to have that, and we're going to be pleasantly surprised, because they're going to be able to shut us right up with that. But until then, Tony, Beddy, Seth, where did this come from? Where did Sumner County say this? That there's no proof that Sebastian left the house. Where is that? And with that, I think we're done with this one. I mean, we can listen to Beddy, but she just rambles on in circles and talks, and y'all know the gist.
But I don't want to make it like the real Me Too. Her print's like this big on her phone. I'm like, man, you can see that from the moon. Big shout out to
Demon. Crazy about that too is they took thermal imaging in. There's like cameras that can go. People forget, like with duct work, they can go in with cameras. There's like snake cameras that go down into drains and duct work and stuff like that, and all this stuff, like the walls, they can do stuff. It's wild to me. They even, like, general contractors can find leaks and stuff with imaging. They make a lot of high-tech stuff that would be able to, but at this point, who knows? Probably. I mean, seriously. I think we're done though with this one, because I want to switch gears here, because I want to explain to everybody why I'm even mentioning T-Rev. Like, I agree, Steph, 100%, he is irrelevant. But the reason I want to go back there is because there were some statements made on there that I think might lead to the intent of why we were seeing the push that we're seeing. That is why I want to go back there. And to do that, it's just going to open up Pandora's box a little bit. And it's a great time to just kind of nip some things in the bud. Chico, I don't blame you. I'm not torturing you guys anymore. Alpha, I've listened to, I'm not a Beddy review channel, as you guys know. Like, Beddy is one of the few, like, I very rarely review her, and I've reviewed statements from her for the last 3 days. and my brain is suffering over here because it's just ridiculousness. Like they're just doing ridiculous things that don't make sense to me. Oh, Steph, I think you'll understand where I'm going when we go there, but he is totally agree with you. There's so much. I also want, Steph, I want to talk about Clue with Spanky the other day. That was an interesting little exchange after court. I found that to be interesting, and I was like thinking to myself, is the team trying to flip Clue back on their like interesting is all I got to say. There's a lot of weird movements going on here, and I really want to get back to the drawing board though, like the actual whiteboard that we have of the team members, because I think there's so many new people that have came in over the last few months that they don't quite understand the foundation of how these team members came and went. You also notice that CJ's being silent and not searching for Sebastian after his serpentine belt and how people prevented him out there with the dogs. You also notice Nick is quiet. And they've been making up rumors there with no fact basis behind it. Their team has been trying to tell people that he potentially might be in jail with no fact behind it. It's all, there's just so many movements right now, and none of them are benefiting finding Sebastian. It's content farming, it's distractions, it's money grabbing, it's all of the above. So Misty, wasn't it? I know. It was really interesting to me too. Okay, y'all. I will see you guys in a couple hours and we'll do that one. And I will try to make it not horrifying and long, but we've got a little bit to discuss. Thank you all for joining me today. Appreciate you. Appreciate all you mods. Thank you for everybody being invested in this. If anybody finds this, anybody finds where Sumner County said that there's no proof that Sebastian left the home, please let me know. You can hit me up in my email, or you can just comment it in my comment section and say, hey, you dumbass, this is exactly where it's at. That's all we want to know is, where was this said by Sumner County? That's it. I appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate everybody doing all of their research. Some of you guys impressed the shit out of me because you're right in the same mindset as us. With that, have a wonderful rest of your day. If I don't see you later, I will see you soon. Bye.